York, but ABC's Martha Raddatz tells us the report has yet to be confirmed.
There is a lot of skepticism as to whether this was a hydrogen bomb test because the initial size and scale of the tremor, the earthquake that was detected, is similar to tests that North Korea has done in the past, but no one wants to rule this out just yet.
It's more than just doodling. New research finds that drawing pictures to represent objects before using words and letters to express concepts is a key building block to language and talking for children. Scientists say their nuanced reasoning can start as early as the age of 3. Virtual reality is becoming reality and stealing the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. Several companies are displaying the latest VR headsets and consoles that are due to hit the market this year. Drones are also hot, including one you launch like a paper airplane. This is ABC News.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-436-0169 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-436-0169 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-436-0169. That's 1-800-436-0169. Again, 1-800-436-0169.
A lot of people would love to go to college, but many have been holding off because it takes a lot of time and money. ABC's Daria Albinger tells us that's why one college is rethinking the experience.
A growing number of colleges know the traditional education experience no longer makes the grade with non-traditional students, especially those who are juggling career and family. Brandman University in Irvine, California, is among the campuses embracing competency-based education. Chancellor Gary Braum.
For working adults who are already know quite a bit, they can move much more quickly through things, and they do it on their own. It's online.
For now, it's just business degrees, but Braum expects his school
Think. Successful people read a lot, and they don't waste time on entertainment magazines or tabloid trash. They're constantly self-educating, learning how to be more successful. Warren Buffett spends 80% of his time reading. Karen Chase, ABC.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Mary Lynn Foster. The Mason County Sheriff's Office now has another option to avoid overcrowding at the county jail. County Commissioners Terry Jeffries, Tim Sheldon, and Randy Netherland unanimously approved a contract yesterday that allows the county sheriff's office to house inmates in Lewis County. The agreement gives the sheriff's office a third jail to hold an overflow of Mason County inmates beyond the county's existing jail contracts with Nisqually Corrections in Yelm and the city of Forks. Mason County Jail has been open since 1986 when it housed less than 45 inmates. Today, the jail houses as many as 150 inmates a day. Under the agreement, Mason County agrees to pay Lewis County a little over $60 a day for each inmate housed. Inmates classified as high needs are to be housed for $90 a day. High needs inmates Under Sheriff Jim Barrett says the Lewis County contract allows law enforcement and the courts to prosecute and sentence lawbreakers and makes the community safer. During this week's City Commission meeting, Mayor Gary Krantz called for a year-long moratorium on City of Shelton development impact fees, water hookup fees, sewer line connection charges, and sidewalk requirements for residential lots. Krantz wants to bolster the city's economic growth through home building. The commissioners asked city staff to come up with a proposal and bring it back to the commission before spring construction begins. Among audience members opposing Krantz's proposal was former city commissioner Mike Olson, who accused the mayor and newly seated Commissioner Kathy McDowell of pandering to special interests rather than the interests of Shelton residents. McDowell defeated Olson in the November general election for the Commissioner of Finance and Accounting position. McDowell, who attended her first city commission meeting Monday night, said a one-year moratorium was not a very long time to give it a try. The Mason County coroner has completed an autopsy for a scuba diver who died while diving in Hood Canal on Sunday. West Stockwell determined that 56-year-old Todd Randall McDonald died from saltwater drowning. He said that additional tests will be conducted to determine what events led up to the drowning. State shellfish managers have approved racer clam digs starting later this week at Long Beach and Copalis Beach. Digs at both beaches are on evening tides and include a 2-day opening, January 8th and 9th at Copalis, and an 8-day dig, January 7th through 14th at Long Beach. All diggers age 15 or older must have an applicable fishing license to harvest racer clams on any beach. Licenses are available on WDFW's website at wdfw.wa.gov. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
Get ready. It's time to tee it up with Keith Jones.
If we really want to talk about, where you want to have, short-term, long-term improvement, it's that 6-inch fairway that Bobby Jones said is the most important fairway of golf. That's the fairway between your ears and the expectations that people have coming into the new season and really what they would like to accomplish.
Tee it up with Keith Jones.
All right.
Gillis Auto Center in Shelton. Best deals, best price, best trade, and low payments. Gillis is your home for Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram truck with over 350 new vehicles available for you today. That's 350 new vehicles available. This is your year-end closeouts. The 2015s have got to go to make room for the new 2016s. We're talking year-end closeout pricing, rebates, and low interest. Gillis is Mason County's only new car dealership at the City Center Mount Lock exit and 24/7 at GillisAutoCenter.com.
Mavs win, Kentucky falls, and the Baseball Hall of Fame will make an announcement. Hi, everybody. Todd Ant reporting on sports. In Dallas, it was Darren Williams' night, coming up huge in overtime.
To Williams in the corner, shot fake, got it away. He hit it! He hit it! And the Mavericks win the game!
On KESN, Williams capped off his 25-point night with that winner, and the Mavericks won 17-116 win over Sacramento. It's Dallas' 22nd consecutive win over the Kings in Dallas. In Chicago, the Bulls picked up their season-high 5th straight win.
Rose crossing over, steps back on Mayo. Bam! Derrick Rose flashing a little shake and bake. Yes!
On WMVP, the Bulls knocked off Milwaukee 117-106. Jimmy Butler, Pau Gasol, and Taj Gibson each had double-doubles. College hoops, the Tigers, tougher than the Wildcats last night.
Dana on the shot clock. Simmons in low. In, up, and around, and in again. Over a double two.
On ESPN, LSU routed number 9 Kentucky 85-67 in Baton Rouge, and number 8 Providence lost to Marquette. Back to the NBA, a limping Steph Curry took another shot to his sore left leg. Meanwhile, Klay Thompson picked up the slack.
Good hustle by Clark. Throws ahead to Klay Thompson. Takes a dribble, sets his feet, and knocks down another one. His 6th triple of the night. 34 for Klay.
On KNBR, Klay Thompson scored 36 in Golden State's 109-88 victory over the Lakers. To the NHL, the Blackhawks blew a 2-0 lead in Pittsburgh as the Penguins sent it into overtime.
Aaron takes the puck into the right circle, shoots off the crossbar. Oh, it's into the net, he scores!
On WGN Radio, Chicago wins 3-2. And the baseball writers will announce today who gains entrance to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. ESPN senior baseball writer David Schoenfield says Ken Griffey Jr.
He's an obvious lock. He's an inner circle Hall of Famer, 6th all-time with 630 home runs, 15th in RBIs, 10 Gold Glovers. He's getting in, no doubt. Mike Piazza's, I think he gets in this year.
As for Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, Schoenfield says not this year. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
For News Radio 1030 KMAS FM 103.3. It's Daybreak here. I'm Jeff Slakey taking a look at the South Sounds forecast, and good morning to you. Carol and I are here. Carol's going to update us on the weather here shortly. Tonight on KMAS.com, we've got a video cast of Shelton basketball for you. North Thurston comes to the Mini Dome, and our coverage with Sean Wells starts right around 7 o'clock. Sean was up at the North Mason basketball game last night where Squim ended up beating the Bulldogs 34-24, and other scores in girls basketball: Olympic over Bremerton 75-66. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and other tainted stars of the steroids era appear likely to get a boost in Hall of Fame balloting, but not enough to enter Cooperstown this year. As we heard in ABC Sports, today's the day, and the kid, Griff, could be the first player inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame with 100%. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be awesome.
Mike Piazza, Jeff Bagwell, and Tim Raines are also strong candidates. They need to gain a 75% threshold for baseball's highest honor. And Kerry Williams' agent says the cornerback has agreed to sign with the Redskins. Williams was released by the Seahawks last month and is expected to be available for Washington's wild card game Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. Williams, who's 31, had 46 tackles in 10 games with Seattle this season. Taking a look at the Shelton High School sports schedule for today. Boys basketball, North Thurston at Shelton High. Let's see. There's two of those. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. So we've got the boys basketball taking on North Thurston, Shelton High. That's the varsity and JV. And then it looks like the girls are heading to North Thurston. So I had that messed up. The boys will be coming, and that's who we'll have on the video cast today. Also today in wrestling, the North Mason duel. It's wrestling against North Mason, and throughout the rest of the week, there's some bowling and more wrestling we'll tell you about. But now, Carol Gardner has a check on the weather.
Well, good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
It's 37 degrees out right now. It's partly cloudy. It's going to be sort of a little bit of rain today. They say around 8 o'clock there's going to be a little precipitation, but mainly it's going to be sunny for today. The high is going to be 45. Tonight, the overnight low, we're going to drop back down into the low 30s, but it's going to be sunny and cloudy for the rest of the week with just sort of that same type of system.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now from Shelton's Media Row, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. 6:13 here at KMAS. We have Port of Call on the air today at 8:45. Tomorrow, we'll get a phone call from U.S. Congressman in the 6th District, Derek Kilmer. He'll be calling about 7 o'clock tomorrow. And then Mark Ziegler for Focus on Shelton. He's from Parks and Rec for the city of Shelton at 8:45. Then Friday, we're real happy to have new City Commissioner Kathy McDowell on the radio at 7:15. The Shelton School District Superintendent Dr. Alex Apostle at 8:15. And then 35th District Representative Drew McEwen at 8:45 as we kick off the legislative session. And Monday is going to be the first day. How you doing, Carol?
I'm doing really good. So Friday, we won't even get a word in edgewise, it looks like.
No, they're going to have a lot of folks talking about all sorts of good things.
We are, and political season is starting. But there's a question I wanted to ask you about a little earlier. So you said that you're going to be videoing the basketball game tonight. Where can somebody find that?
KMAS.com. Did I not say that?
No.
Oh, my goodness. So KMAS.com tonight. We'll have the links. It'll be right there on the main local news tab. It's very similar to how Dale and I have been doing the basketball games, and they've been a lot of fun. And we will continue to do that. Sean Wells will be on the calls tonight, just around 7 o'clock. We'll also put the links up on our Facebook page and Twitter pages,
Yes.
Facebook.com/1030KMAS, and on the Twitter at 1030KMAS. The former director of the Downtown Pasco Development Authority is pleading guilty to embezzling an estimated $90,000 from the agency. The Tri-City Herald reports that 36-year-old Michael Goins has agreed to work with the state auditor's office as it continues to investigate his embezzlement.
Republican State Senator Mike Hewitt of Walla Walla will not be seeking re-election in 2016. He is serving his fourth Senate in Washington's legislature and was first elected to the State House in 2000. We're going to have to get a list of all. There seems to be quite a few resigning or retiring this year, so we will have to sort of get that list for you. That'll be on our political page under the news link on KMAS.com.
And authorities have arrested a sword-wielding suspect in Richland who forced a nearby daycare and school to go into lockdown. The Tri-City Herald reports the man was subdued with a taser after he was reported banging on the doors and windows of the daycare. He was evaluated at a hospital and then booked into the Benton County Jail. It's 6:16, Carol, and coming up, Westwood One will have an NFL Now report for us. Other news notes nationally to talk about this morning. A potential for a hydrogen bomb test in North Korea was followed by a 5.1 earthquake. So we'll talk about that, have some interview clips from people who are involved with that situation. Also, we'll find out what a hydrogen bomb is. We'll learn about that. We'll talk about that. And we'll see if that earthquake, this announcement, changes how you do your day-to-day life. See how you're Consider Night Live on the 23rd. That'll be fun. Michael Weatherly, Tony DiNozzo is leaving NCIS, and Twitter is changing some of its ways it allows violent style posts.
Interesting.
On the Twitter sphere. So those are all the stories that we'll cover throughout the morning here on Daybreak at 6:18. And we do thank you for starting your morning with us here at KMAS. We'll also talk about some other sports notes, and we've got the Hawks this weekend in wild card action. We'll tell you the lineup for the weekend right after this.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Blind. I'm Ari Wolf with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Tom Coughlin's 12-year tenure as head coach of the New York Giants came to an end on Monday. But during Tuesday's press conference, Coughlin revealed he is open to returning to the sideline. Coughlin saying, quote, "I'm not necessarily done with coaching." Bengals quarterback Andy Dalton's broken thumb is out of its cast, according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. A.J. McCarron is expected to start Saturday against the Steelers as the Bengals look to win their first playoff game in 25 years. Steelers running back DeAngelo Williams is day-to-day after an MRI on Monday revealed no fractures or structural damage to the foot he injured Sunday. Cardinals coach Bruce Arians said that running back Chris Johnson has been cleared and will return to practice next week. Johnson has a knee injury and would be eligible to return if the Cardinals reach the Super Bowl. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
What would an extra $250 a month mean to you? For some, it's a little financial breathing room. For others, it's a car payment, a home repair, or help with college tuition. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I've got some great news if you're looking to save money on your mortgage. All it takes is a simple phone call to Quicken Loans at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. Folks who refinance with HARP can save an average of $250 a month. That's $3,000 a year. Our home loan experts fully understand the HARP guidelines, and they'll walk you through our streamlined process. And for 6 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
All Rain are in here. Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. At the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom31.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 31.com. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom31.com.
Hi, this is Terry Allen with a look at the community calendar on KMAS. Nonprofits post your events on KMAS.com. Graduation Matters Shelton is a community-wide effort to inspire, empower, and prepare youth of diverse backgrounds for graduation and beyond. The public's invited to attend the meeting at the Civic Center on Thursday, January 14th at 5:30 p.m. Check our community calendar for details. For KMAS News Radio, I'm Terry Allen.
Hi, this is Lynn Longan from Mason County Economic Development Council, and you're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
All right, good morning to you on a Wednesday morning. It's 6:22. It's Hall of Fame Day for Cooperstown. 3 o'clock is when they're going to make that announcement. Real excited to see just how well Griff does. I mean, what a great player. What a great representative for baseball, for the Mariners.
Could you imagine if it's 100%?
Wouldn't that be awesome if it was 100%? That would just show that Griffey transcends. You know, there's none of that petty, oh, he's just, whatever. But that would be something.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. So, Jeff, 170 years ago.
Yeah.
Were you aware that George and Isabella Bush came west by wagon train from Missouri?
I did know that, but only because I was in Homesteaders at Tumwater Middle School.
What's that?
It was in 8th grade, you took a class at Washington State History.
Okay.
And Homesteaders was like the honors class. Oh. And so we would dress up like the Homesteaders, like the Bush clan. And we would press cider and play with those wood wheels, and you hit them with sticks like fun games. See different ways. Yep. We built up a camp at Peter G. Was it Peter G or Michael T? I always get those two confused. Anyways, we built a campus settlement.
Which one did you go to?
I didn't go to either, but that's where we, for like a week long.
Oh, Peter G's off Capitol Way, Michael T.
What's the one next to Dairy Queen?
Peter G.
Okay, so Peter G right next to Tumwater High School. The Homesteaders had built up this community, and the kids would come in and they'd learn about blacksmithing and cow milking and rustling or wrestling.
Wow.
And so, yeah, pretty cool stuff. What are you talking about?
Well, last summer, a group of students from the Evergreen State College, led by faculty and an archaeologist, excavated the site of the Bush family farm. Yeah. So they're going to describe the experience in a program called Digging Up George Bush's Homestead. It's going to be at the Olympia Timber Library Thursday, January 14th at 7:30. So it's going to describe what they know about the Bush family, how the site was identified, and just basically all the experience and stuff that went into it as part of an archaeological dig.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
You know, I always used to want to be an archaeologist.
Who didn't?
I know, because to me, I visualize traveling the world in hot, sunny places.
Like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds like pretty cool. So a week from tomorrow, was it more what?
The reality is it's probably a little more grueling than just the glamour.
I think you're
glamour and
you
glitter.
spend most of your time in the library.
Which actually I don't mind. But it would be fun to travel and see old things.
So next Thursday at the Olympia Timberland Library.
Yeah, 7:30 to 8. And the story's listed on our local news page on KMAS.com.
Well, speaking of the library, they have a deal going on. It's their thing is called Book a Great Getaway, and it's an adult winter reading program. So basically what they want to do is between the first of the year here a couple days ago and the middle of March, the Ides of March, they want adults to read 5 books and either read books, and then you go to trl.org and you fill out the information of the books that you read and things like that. You got to be over 18. You got to have a library card. Hope you do have a library card, and
they're free and
they
easy
are free
to get.
and easy to get for sure. So check that out. It's kind of a fun thing to do to hunker down in these cold
When's
weathers.
that gonna start?
Started on the 1st.
Okay.
Goes through the 15th, and all you got to do is just get a couple books and then fill them out, and they'll draw prizes.
I probably read at least 5 books a month.
Yeah, I would say so. I would think so.
But I just got to sign up.
You don't have a library card?
No, sign up for the deal.
Oh, yeah. TRL.org.
Yep.
Fun. Great folks that work at the library. KMAS.com has a lot of news stories from one of our new reporters, Jeff Chu, and he's talking about the waived building fees as Mayor Kranz's answer for growth. We need to stimulate growth, and it is not an uncommon practice that cities do something like this. That's what Gary said Monday night during the city commission meeting. There were some folks in the audience that were speaking against it, but folks as well speaking for this idea. Impact fees, water hookup fees, sewer line connection charges, and sidewalk requirements for residential lots. So it'd be interesting to see that, one, if this gets voted on and passed for a year. The new Commissioner McDowell made a good point saying, I mean, a year is in government not that long with time.
That's
a
true.
Year is not that long. So why not try this? And that's a great idea. You know, why not try some things? Umpteen helps. Great.
True.
If we can attract 2 more houses, that'll be a plus, she said. And I think to agree.
We'll have to just see what happens, and they haven't voted on it yet. The commissioners have asked the city staff to come up with a proposal and bring it back to the commission.
Please comment on these stories yourself right at the bottom. You can comment on them. They've just been posted this morning, so no comments yet, but you can find the comment section there, also on Facebook.com. How's that coming along, Carol? People are still commenting on the stories?
Not as much. No, not as much. And then you can see the comments if you're not signed into Facebook also. So some people
that was a question.
That was a question, but you can see them. The thing is, you have to click on the view comment button, and then it'll go into the main story, and it'll show all the comments listed
so
there.
that's perhaps the mess.
That could be. Could be. But yeah, I mean, it's just we haven't had any problems with any commenters, but we have had less comments, unfortunately. But hopefully people will start moving into commenting more.
New Year's resolution is to jump into social media. How about that? Feet first.
Oh, well, that's a good one.
I'm still trying to figure out Twitter. I have no idea on how that even works.
I like it because we do get a lot of information, such as the Mason Transit. They do alerts.
Yeah. There's a rider alert.
Yeah, rider alert. They were providing after-school services with their public transportation, but now they won't be doing it anymore. It will still be happening, but the school itself will be providing that service. So, I mean, we got stuff like the Ole Town Artesians tweeting, so we can see what's going on with those guys. We have our troopers from the State Patrol. They are pretty good at tweeting on things that are happening. There's some stuff happening up on 101, but that's pretty far north. I think that's up in Kitsap or Jefferson County. But, you know. And we got lots of stories to talk about in next half hour.
That's right. 6:30 here, KMAS. Mary Lynn Foster now with the news.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Mary Lynn Foster. The Mason County Sheriff's Office now has another option to avoid overcrowding at the county jail. County Commissioners Terry Jeffries, Tim Sheldon, and Randy Netherland unanimously approved a contract yesterday that allows the county sheriff's office to house inmates in Lewis County. The agreement gives the sheriff's office a third jail to hold an overflow of Mason County inmates beyond the county's existing jail contracts with Nisqually Corrections in Yelm and the city of Forks. Mason County Jail has been open since 1986 when it housed less than 45 inmates. Today, the jail houses as many as 150 inmates a day. Under the agreement, Mason County agrees to pay Lewis County a little over $60 a day for each inmate housed. Inmates classified as high needs are to be housed for $90 a day. High needs inmates are defined as having special housing or requiring additional corrections officers. Mason County Undersheriff Jim Barrett says the Lewis to prosecute breakers and makes the community safer. During this week's City Commission meeting, Mayor Gary Krantz called for a year-long moratorium on City of Shelton development impact fees, water hookup fees, sewer line connection charges, and sidewalk requirements for residential lots. Krantz wants to bolster the city's economic growth through home building. The commissioners asked city staff to come up with a proposal and bring it back to the commission before spring construction begins. Among audience members opposing Krantz's proposal was former City Commissioner Mike Olson, who accused the mayor McDowell defeated Olson in the November general election for the Commissioner of Finance and Accounting position. McDowell, who attended her first City Commission meeting Monday night, said a one-year moratorium was not a very long time to give it a try. The Mason County coroner has completed an autopsy for a scuba diver who died while diving in Hood Canal on Sunday. West Stockwell determined that 56-year-old Todd Randall McDonald died from saltwater drowning. He said that additional tests will be conducted to determine what events led up to the drowning. State shellfish managers have approved razor clam digs starting later this week at Long Beach and Copalis Beach. Digs at both beaches are on evening tides and include a 2-day opening, January 8th and 9th at Copalis, and an 8-day dig, January 7th through 14th at Long Beach. All diggers age 15 or older must have an applicable fishing license to harvest razor clams on any beach. Licenses are available on WDFW's website at wdfw.wa.gov. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
I'm attorney Harold Carr. During the past 25 years, more than 8,000 people have trusted me to handle their personal injury cases. I understand how an injury can disrupt your life and cause financial hardship for you and your family. At the law firm of Harold Carr, we have 5 attorneys and 19 staff members experienced with negotiating and litigating with insurance companies. So if you feel the insurance company is not dealing with you fairly, call me, Harold Carr. Let us deal with the insurance company so you won't have to.
Car accident? Call Carr or visit us online at haroldcarrattorney.com.
Hi, Tom Hartman here. Join me 9 to noon on News Radio 1030 KMAS. Eventually, something is going to break through all the lies and all the hundreds of millions of dollars the Koch Industries and ExxonMobil and others have spent funding climate change deniers. Eventually, it's going to break through, and people are going to realize that for the last 40 years, they've been lied to by very wealthy people who are lying to us and allowing people to die just so they can protect their wealth. Not even protect their existing wealth, just so they can make more wealth.
All right, good morning to you. Daybreak here at KMAS, KMAS.com. Baseball's 2016 Hall of Fame class will be announced today at noon our time. ABC's Ryan Burrow reports on one player who appears to be a shoo-in for Cooperstown.
And that ball is belted! Ken Griffey Jr. clubbed his way to the top of the 2016 class. Over 22 seasons, he smashed 630 homers. What a shot by Jr. Snagged an American League MVP award and was named to 13 All-Star teams. The question that remains, will he be the first ever unanimous selection? Closer Trevor Hoffman and catcher Jason Kendall are among the other first-timers on the ballot. Mike Piazza, Tim Raines, and Jeff Bagwell are hoping to reach that coveted 80% mark after being on the ballot for several years. Ryan Burrow, ABC News.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. And we'll have that announcement this afternoon. Very exciting.
Yeah, really exciting.
For the Griff, for sure. Oh, man. Loved watching him growing up, following the Mariners. 95. I mean, obviously that year was fantastic. Cool stuff. All right. Other sports news and a good morning to you. It is Daybreak here. Hawks will play in Minnesota this weekend for the first round of the playoffs, and everybody, including Minnesota fans, like the Seahawks in this game. I don't necessarily want to call it a lock, but a lot of people are going for the Hawks on this one. Sunday morning at 10, we start our coverage at 8. Other playoff games this weekend. It is wild card weekend. Kansas City and Houston, then Pittsburgh and Cincinnati on Saturday. The Sunday morning game is the Hawks, like I mentioned. And then another good one, Green Bay at Washington. KMAS is going to air all the games for wild card weekend on AM 1030 and FM 1033. Tonight on KMAS.com, join us for another online video cast of Shelton basketball. North Thurston boys come to the Mini Dome, and our coverage starts around 7. Other news, Portland Trailblazers hosting the Clippers tonight at the Moda Center. Blazers are coming off a 91-78 loss to the Memphis Grizzlies. Other basketball scores, Squim over North Mason in girls basketball yesterday, 34-24, and Olympic over Bremerton, 75-66. Taking a look at the forecast, here's Carol.
Well, good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
It's 37 out right now, overcast. It's going to be sunny and clear today, with some clouds, but it's going to be a high of 45, and it's going to continue that way the rest of the week. And I said yesterday, the forecast had called for rain on Saturday, but it is a clear day forecasted right now. But I was going to say, but it's going to be a high of 41. The night low is going to be 31, so it's going to be a little cool in the evening.
So still cool, but no rain over the weekend.
No, that's what it says right now, and it looks great.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other. Getting in the heck with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now, from somewhere in the wilderness of the Olympic Peninsula, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. It's Daybreak here at KMAS 638. And Jerry Eckenrode's going to join us here in about 7 minutes or so. We'll be talking with her about yesterday's legislative send-off that happened at the Colonial House yesterday morning from 7:30 to 8:30. Thank you so much to the Shelton Mason County Chamber of Commerce, the North Mason Chamber of Commerce, the City of Shelton, the County of Mason, and Mason County's EDC. First time they've all combined to get this thing on the air. A lot of times, or off the ground, a lot of times these representatives, and everybody's so interested in what these folks have to say, they would travel to the next event to hear the same thing again.
Right.
So when Lynn was with us on Monday, an interview you can re-watch under our Daybreak page, she talked that this year everybody got together and they did it in one spot, and it was at the Colonial House. So we'll have Jerry in a little bit to talk about who was there, who wasn't there, and some other news.
Things that were said, the priorities that the citizens via the government officials want the elected officials to work on this legislative season. So we also had some other news coming up. These will be posted on the website later. We're Tree City. We've always been a Tree City. So it's going to happen again this year. I guess each year you have to apply to be a Tree City USA.
Okay.
So Shelton City Commission unanimous. I can't speak this morning. I guess it's just coffee. Anyways, they all approved the ordinance on Monday night. So we are going to be a Tree City USA.
Interesting. That's cool. That's great. I mean, we got a lot of trees. That was from Jeff Chu. What else did Jeff...
Well, they had something in the Shelton City Commission meeting, something about there's going to be a public hearing scheduled so the citizens can weigh on issues about allowing a second retail marijuana shop and some new pot growing facilities in Shelton. So the mayor said he would withhold his opinion on marijuana retail and growing operations in Shelton until the meeting on January 19th.
Okay.
But Community and Economic Development Director Steve Goings updated the city about amending the marijuana laws and decreasing the buffer zones.
Boy, they really cut those down. They really changed those rules.
Yeah, that was the state that did that. So now the city needs to address all those issues, and then that will determine whether they're going to allow new shops to come in or whatever. So looks like there's going to be a public hearing January 19th.
Excellent. We'll take a break. We'll live the country life here on Daybreak 641. Then we'll talk about the legislative send-off and when we expect to have our representatives on Daybreak.
Yes, listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Most people don't pay attention to their trees in the winter, but your evergreens need some moisture. Hi, I'm Jody Henke. Water evergreens now to avoid brown needles in the spring as you're living the country life.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic and from previous shows by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com. We'll return to the show after these messages.
A shop can serve many purposes on an acreage, from woodworking to repairing machinery. If you're constructing a new building, consider the size and amount of equipment you have when determining height, width, and length of your shop. Inside, think about what you'll be doing in different areas and how to make these projects convenient. Install a wash bay and floor drain. Make sure to include plenty of electrical outlets and storage space. And carefully design the lighting details to meet your needs. Our shop tip of the week was brought to you by Morton Buildings.
Morton Buildings, the best in the construction business since 1903. If you're ready for a new farm storage facility, insulated workshop, hobby garage, horse barn, or custom home, Morton will provide the building you'll be proud to call your own. Contact us today during Building Value Days. It's the biggest sales event of the year. Don't miss the opportunity to get the best building at the best price. Find the building of your dreams at mortonbuildings.com.
Your evergreen, if moisture lost through the needles is higher than what the tree is taking in through its roots, the needles will turn brown in the spring. This is called winter desiccation. Typically, you'll see browning on the ends of branches. In severe cases, it can be the entire side of a tree, which usually faces the prevailing wind. When they're damaged by desiccation, there's no going back. Those tissues are dead. Nicole Stoner is an extension educator at the University of Nebraska. She says most people ignore their trees during the winter and advises getting out the hose when temperatures rise above 40 degrees.
Go out mid-morning once the ground has thawed a little bit and early enough in the day so that the water can penetrate down into the soil before freezing occurs again. You don't want it puddling on the top of the ground. I like to say November, December, January, February, get out there one time each month. If it's dry, if we're not seeing snow cover, get out there and water those trees a little bit.
Evergreens don't need as much water as they do during the spring and summer, but try to get some moisture to the roots.
Most of your tree roots are going to be in the top 12 to 18 inches of soil. So if you're watering a slow trickle for, half hour to an hour, about an inch of water, so that it gets down into where those roots are and can keep those going. We do want to get out there if we can. Even full-grown trees need water, especially in drought situations.
In most cases, brown needles are just an aesthetic issue and only need selective pruning. But severe damage can kill the underlying branches, and you may have to remove the tree. Learn more about preventing winter desiccation in evergreens at livingthecountrylife.com. I'll see you in the country.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online.
Mason County Garbage and Recycling on Johns Prairie here in Shelton is pleased to offer safe and efficient removal services. Mason County Garbage and Recycling is always mindful of environmental standards and is continuously striving for the highest excellence. Mason County Garbage and Recycling, upholding your trust within the community. Questions? Call 426-8729. In Belfair, 275-4590.
If you're first to arrive at the scene of an accident, PUD number 3 reminds you to pull over and put on your emergency flasher to help warn oncoming traffic. Check the condition of the victims, and in most cases, it's not wise to try to move them. A safe driving reminder from PUD number 3.
Hold onto your steering wheel firmly during the winter driving season. Castle and Coleman Logging says don't attempt large turns. A light touch should be used to correct swerves. Castle and Coleman Logging reminds you that safe winter driving requires extra attention and extra care.
Hi, this is Commissioner Randy Netherland, and you're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on Newsradio 1030 KMAS.
It's 6:46 here at KMAS, and a good morning to you. Daybreak with Jeff and Carol, and Jerry Eckenrode is in studio this morning. Morning, Jerry.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing. I got here safe and sound and dry.
Isn't it amazing the difference in a couple days? We were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah, but there's still snow in the outlying areas.
Uh-huh.
So we have to kind of watch out. Still pay attention.
There was a legislative send-off that you attended yesterday at the Colonial House here in beautiful downtown Shelton. It featured the representatives that will be heading over to Olympia, and it was put on by the Shelton Mason County Chamber of Commerce, the North Mason Chamber, the City of Shelton, the County of Mason, and Mason County's EDC. So everybody got together, and they all met at the Colonial House. First off, good turnout, a lot of people there?
Yes, there's a pretty good turnout. I would estimate there's probably anywhere from maybe 40 to 50 people.
Oh, that's
and there were
encouraging.
some new ones. The thing that I always find interesting is it's a lot of the people that normally go, other politicians, like of course the city commissioners were there, the county commissioners and whatnot. And there were several business owners, a lot of the EDC board, but the community really needs to get in and listen to some of this as well.
Sure.
So, but anyway, it was well attended, and Drew McEwen wasn't able to go there. Drew is he's a leading Republican representative in the general government and info technology arena for the governor. And he was requested to meet with the governor, representatives from Homeland Security and the FBI regarding cyber security. So I'm sure that meeting trumped our little send-off here. So
wow, that's a big deal for him. Carol and I were talking about cybersecurity moving into this new year as maybe a big deal that needs to be figured out, looked at better.
Yeah. So I'm sure his, when we meet with him again, we can get kind of a update on his involvement there.
Yeah, he'll be on Friday to talk about the upcoming legislative session. So what were some of the proposals put forth to these representatives?
Okay, so the priorities, and that was really for the time for the community to say to their legislatures, this is what we feel is important and you need to focus on. Of course, education and transportation, the bypass being up there on the list. Knowing that it's on the list and secure on the list, but of course we always want to nudge that up. So that was a request by most of those involved. The protection of natural resources, our environment is always an issue. The fact that we're a rural community, and as we see Seattle and whatnot growing, it's harder for the rural communities to thrive. And some of the decisions that are made at the state level, the impact or ripple down to the counties is always an issue, and that they're always communities.
Those are like those they're called unfunded mandates, those kind of things?
Correct. Correct. Well, they'll make, we'll take the gas tax and go and buy mileage versus gallon. How does that affect the most commuted county in the state?
Yeah.
That affects us pretty negatively. Some of the other issues at the county level was fiscal sustainability. What we see here in Mason County. As a result of that, our people leave for those better jobs. And, how do we correct that with the 1% property tax limit? Is there a different methodology? So Terry Jeffrey spoke for the commission and asked that there might be some consideration or attention to that. And these are all, as issues come up and bills are presented. Also, of big interest, and I know from a local level, is mental health issues.
Yeah.
The fact that if the police pick them up, where do they put them? The jail isn't the right place to put them because these people have an illness or need a condition that needs attention. The hospital can't take them because they have no facilities. There are no facilities in Mason County to handle those people suffering from mental illness, and that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Let's see. The other thing regarding Supreme Court costs, and we're looking at cost impacts to the county. And defense for the past few years is the fact that about 98% of the people that go up in front of a judge are dubbed indigent. And it's because the judge is only allowed to ask so many questions. And if they answer yes to, like, do you get food stamps, that's the end of the investigation, irregardless of if they have a big bank account or something like that. So that needs attention because just to provide lawyer for those people, that has grown. First of all, it was new in 2012, and since 2012, those costs continue to grow upwards to 23 to 25% a year. And when your revenue source is at 1% and constant, those kinds of things, don't bode well for the budget. And coupled with that, our other revenue issues tend to be with permitting, and those are income sources, and when building and whatnot's down, that impacts it as well.
How did the representatives feel the session would go this year? Did anybody talk about their thoughts on the session? I know it's a big election year. They're all up for re-election, and they can't politic while they're in session. So is it just going to be a real streamline? You'll never imagine how well both sides have worked together this year, very kumbaya, because they all need to get back out raising those dollars? Or?
Well, the question wasn't posed to the legislatures that were there in that way. However, Sheldon did feel that this was going to be a much shorter session. They don't have a capital budget,
right?
And to deal with, although they should be done in 60 days because they don't have as much to discuss. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know that I have quoted him the best on that one, but I'm sure when they will call in and tell me, correct me how I was. Yeah, he said 60 days was expected. Last year was like 179 days.
Yeah.
It's not a budget year. It will be a supplemental budget. In other words, they'll look at the exceptions. So that's another reason for it. So they won't be going through the full-blown budget, and there was no capital budget.
So did the legislatures, when they were listening to these priorities of their counties or their district that they were representing, did they acknowledge, like they knew what this was going on? Did they say anything that they are working on something like that and they'll let you know? I mean, how do you...
Were they surprised by some of these
How do you get them accountable, I guess, is also...
They did not act surprised, especially with the priorities on the transportation bills and education. And Griffey did speak to the progress that has been made so far in getting closer to the McCleary, meeting the requirements of that. So there was acknowledgement of it, but it wasn't really a conversation. It was a matter of, here's what we want you guys to focus on. And it was more a question back. Do you need clarification on any of the points? So they didn't provide solutions or didn't make any big promises in that regard, but they did acknowledge it. So what holds them accountable is when you see things like the bypass get in there, get started, and continue that constancy of purpose that is really difficult to nail people down. I mean, the education thing is such a big statewide issue. I don't know how you could ignore it.
Right.
And survive. So, and we all know that Griffey is a big education person too, and in some of the issues that were identified, and we'll take the mental illness one, he acknowledged there, it's not only the sheriff's department and the hospitals and that, the firefighters and the EMS people are dealing with the same thing. And he says, we might be carting them around to several different locations, and there's no place for these people. So, boy, I hope that issue really gets elevated, because that's one of those that impacts the community. And what about the poor person in the middle of it? If you've ever dealt with anybody that's had some mental illness, you're just kind of lost. Like, what do I do?
Right.
It's all consuming for your family. It's all consuming for society, because, typically the way we deal with it, here's a pill, now get out on the street.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. So, but anyway, it was a good session, and it was went pretty fast. We started a little bit late, and like the discussion, like I said, there was no real discussion. It was a matter of here's what we want you to look at, don't forget that we don't have bags full of money here to pay for all the changes that you have there.
It's 6:57. Thank you so much. And Jerry, we'll get you in next week to talk about another event happening on the 17th. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the 14th. It's Graduation Matters Shelton. So we'll come in next week and we'll talk more about that as well.
Well, for sure.
6:57 here. We'll step aside and see what CNBC has to say on a business radio report. And then ABC News is next on KMAS.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
I'm Chris Maurer, CNBC Business Radio. Wall Street opens in the red as traders fret about North Korea. Its state television announced the country claiming it has tested a hydrogen bomb. The Dow's down 209 points, the Nasdaq lower by 51. Some good news about jobs. Payroll processor ADP says private sector payrolls rose a larger than expected 257,000. That's the fastest rate in a year. Apple's App Store had a very good year. The tech giant says its sales hit $20 billion in 2015. Valeant Pharmaceuticals has named an interim CEO. Howard Schiller will take over the post, while its CEO Michael Pearson remains on medical leave. People familiar with the matter say Pearson is in the hospital battling pneumonia. And Monsanto swings to a first quarter loss on weaker seed sales. The biotech company is stepping up job cuts from 2,500 announced in October now to a total of 3,600.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Looking to save money on Medicare Part D? Switch your prescriptions to Walgreens. With copays as low as $1, you could be looking at some real savings. And now you can preview the cost of your scripts before you fill with Walgreens' new Medicare prescription copay quote. And that's kind of a big deal. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
Quote subject to change and available only for select Part D plans. $1 copay applies.
Start your mornings live and local with Daybreak on KMAS Shelton. Join Jeff and Dale weekdays from 6 to 9 on AM 1030 or FM 1033.
Next, here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase. More trouble for Chipotle. It's the subject of a criminal investigation triggered by a norovirus outbreak. ABC's Aaron Katersky has the details.
In a filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission, Chipotle disclosed it was served with a subpoena from a federal grand jury in California. It requires Chipotle to produce a broad range of documents related to the location in Simi Valley, where this past summer there was a case of norovirus. Chipotle said it intends to fully cooperate. The investigation by federal prosecutors and the Food and Drug Administration appears limited to mainly college.
Korea's announcement that it successfully tested a hydrogen bomb is sending shockwaves around the globe. China and Russia are calling for restraint. The UN Security Council is holding an emergency meeting. The NRA is dismissing it as a political move. ABC's Pierre Thomas has their story.
The National Rifle Association issued a statement saying the proposals would not have prevented any of the horrific events he mentioned. And GOP presidential candidates were denouncing the president's actions.
The friend who bought the guns for the San Bernardino shooters is due in court today. ABC's Alex Stone reports.
When Enrique Marquez arrives in court today, he'll hear updated charges against him after he was indicted last week. The charges are almost identical to what was already filed against him by prosecutors. He may enter a plea today. He hasn't entered one yet. He'll also likely hear a trial date today, but that date will no doubt change as the case goes on. Marquez is in federal custody, being held without bond.
The job market heated up last month. Employers hired 257,000 new workers, according to a private payroll processor, the most in a year. All eyes are on Apple today, which briefly fell below the $100 mark in pre-market trading for the first time since October of 2014. Overall, it's lost 24% of its value since last year's high. This is ABC News.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Call Quicken Loans now to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. And for 6 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equalizing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Welcome to the 474 at Fridays. Welcome to $4 appetizers, to sharing with the table. Welcome to $7 entrees, to not ordering the usual. Trying something new. Welcome to $4 desserts, to actually having room for dessert. Welcome to lower prices and portions that are just right. Welcome to the 474. Apps and desserts starting at $4, entree starting at $7. The 474, the new menu, only at TGI Fridays. At participating restaurants, prices apply to just right portions only.
For the first time since 1994, Los Angeles will be the home of an NFL franchise. But which one? ABC's Michelle Franzen said. Not one, not two, but 3 Major League Football teams filed applications to move to the City of Angels. The St. Louis Rams, Oakland Raiders, and San Diego Chargers all asking to call the Los Angeles area home base. A first for LA since the Rams left in 1994. 24 of the 32 league owners need to approve which stadium plan wins out. They may get a look at the proposals as early as next week at a meeting in Houston. Michelle Franzen, ABC News. The video is hard to watch. A Pennsylvania high school basketball coach apparently headbutted a referee during a game after a call he obviously didn't agree with. He was not only ejected from the game, he was also put on administrative leave from the school as district officials review the incident. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
The Mason County Sheriff's Office now has another option to avoid overcrowding at the county jail. County Commissioners Terry Jeffries, Tim Sheldon, and Randy Netherland unanimously approved a contract yesterday that allows the county sheriff's office to house inmates in Lewis County. The agreement gives the sheriff's office a third jail to hold an overflow of Mason County inmates beyond the county's existing jail contracts with Nisqually Corrections in Yelm and the city of Forks. Mason County Jail has been open since 1986 when it housed less than 45 inmates. Today, the jail houses as many as 150 inmates a day. Under the agreement, Mason County agrees to pay Lewis County a little over $60 a day for each inmate housed. Inmates classified as high needs are to be housed for $90 a day. High needs inmates are defined as having special housing or requiring additional corrections officers. Mason County Undersheriff Jim Barrett says the Lewis County contract allows law enforcement and the courts to prosecute and sentence lawbreakers and makes the community meeting moratorium on City of Shelton development impact fees, water hookup fees, sewer line connection charges, and sidewalk requirements for residential lots. Krantz wants to bolster the city's economic growth through home building. The commissioners asked city staff to come up with a proposal and bring it back to the commission before spring construction begins. Among audience members opposing Krantz's proposal was former city commissioner Mike Olson, who accused the mayor and newly seated Commissioner Kathy McDowell of pandering to special interests rather than the interests of Shelton residents. McDowell defeated Olson in the November general election for the Commissioner of Finance and Accounting position. McDowell, who attended her first city commission meeting Monday night, said a one-year moratorium was not a very long time to give it a try. The Mason County coroner has completed an autopsy for a scuba diver who died while diving in Hood Canal on Sunday. West Stockwell determined that 56-year-old Todd Randall McDonald died from saltwater drowning. He said that additional tests will be conducted to determine what events led up to the drowning. State shellfish managers have approved razor clam digs starting later this week at Long Beach and Copalis Beach. Digs at both beaches are on evening tides and include a 2-day opening, January 8th and 9th at Copalis, and an 8-day dig, January 7th through 14th at Long Beach. All diggers age 15 or older must have an applicable fishing license to harvest razor clams on any beach. Licenses are available on WDFW's website at wdfw.wa.gov. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
Tune in all season long to NFL Insider on Westwood One. Hi, this is Mark Malone. Join me each week as we whip around the league and break down the NFL. We'll hear from today's stars and yesterday's heroes as James Lofton sits down with a fellow member of the Hall of Fame. We'll also check in with former greats Rod Woodson and Donovan McNabb to help us break down all the latest NFL news. That's NFL Insider right here.
Sunday morning at 6:30 on KMAS.
Is your family doing some growing? Whether it's an expansion of your home or the addition of a new family car, Peninsula Credit Union can provide fast, friendly service with terrific rates. We offer personal lines of credit, affordable auto loans, and a variety of home loan options to get you moving. Visit our offices in Shelton, Belfair, Paulsbo, Port Orchard, and Port Townsend, or go online to pcfcu.org. At Peninsula Credit Union, our priority is you.
Mavs win, Kentucky falls, and the Baseball Hall of Fame will make an announcement. Hi, everybody. Todd Ant reporting on sports. In Dallas, it was Darren Williams' night, coming up huge in overtime.
To Williams in the corner, shot fake, got it away. He hit it! He hit it! And the Mavericks win the game!
On KESN, Williams capped off his 25-point night with that winner, and the Mavericks won 17-116 win over Sacramento. It's Dallas' 22nd consecutive win over the Kings in Dallas. In Chicago, the Bulls picked up their season-high 5th straight win.
Rose crossing over, steps back on Mayo. Bam! Derrick Rose flashing a little shake and bake. Yes!
On WMVP, the Bulls knocked off Milwaukee 117-106. Jimmy Butler, Pau Gasol, and Taj Gibson each had double-doubles. College hoops, the Tigers, tougher than the Wildcats last night.
10 on the shot clock. Simmons in low. In, up, and around, and in again. Over a double team.
On ESPN, LSU routed number 9 Kentucky 85-67 in Baton Rouge, and number 8 Providence lost to Marquette. Back to the NBA, a limping Steph Curry took another shot to his sore left
throws ahead to his feet and knocks down another one. His 6th triple of the night, 34 for Clay.
On KNBR, Klay Thompson scored 36 in Golden State's 109-88 victory over the Lakers. To the NHL, the Blackhawks blew a 2-0 lead in Pittsburgh as the Penguins sent it into overtime.
Aaron takes the puck into the right circle, shoots off the crossbar. Oh, it's into the net, he scores!
On WGN Radio, Chicago wins 3-2. And the baseball writers will announce today who gains entrance to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. ESPN senior baseball writer David Schoenfield says Ken Griffey Jr.
He's an obvious lock. He's an inner circle Hall of Famer, 6th all-time with 630 home runs, 15th in RBIs, 10 Gold Glovers. He's getting in, no doubt. Mike Piazza's, I think he gets in this year.
As for Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, Schoenfield says not this year. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
For News Radio 1030 KMAS, FM 103.3, KMAS.com. It's Daybreak, and good morning to you. They're going to play in Minnesota this weekend. First round of the playoffs. It's wild card weekend. We've got the games for you here on KMAS. Saturday, Kansas City at Houston, then Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Sunday, we are the morning game, Hawks and Minnesota, then Green Bay at Washington. 10:05 is the kickoff, and our pregame is at 8. KMAS, as I mentioned, will air all the games on AM 1030 and FM 103.3. Tonight on KMAS.com, join us for another online video cast of Shelton basketball. It's North Thurston as they come to the Mini Dome. Coverage starts right around 7 with Sean Wells. And back to the Seahawks camp. Kerry Williams' agent says the cornerback has agreed to sign with the Washington Redskins, so will likely play this Saturday against Green Bay. Williams was released by the Hawks last month and expected to be available this Sunday. He is 31, had 46 tackles in 10 games with Seattle this season. In girls high school basketball, Sean Wells was in North Mason yesterday to see North Mason take on Squim. Squim comes out the victor there, 34-24, and Olympic over Bremerton, 75-66. Now taking a look at the forecast, here's Carol.
It's 38 right now. It's overcast. There could be some morning fog for your drive in. It's going to be clear with some clouds later today with a high of 45. Dates low 30s overnight, and Saturday and Sunday it looks like clear skies all day. It's 38.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale. Off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now, from the capital of the great state of Washington, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
7:12 here at KMAS, and a good morning to you. It is Daybreak here at KMAS. The official sunrise this morning, 7:58. 4:38, the sunset. Amazing.
Exactly at 7:58.
Amazing. We got some great programming on. I only bring it up because Carol's monitoring our Twitter feed today, finding any of the other news stories from around the world. And I just saw a picture of Dave Ramsey. He's on from noon to 3 next week. We've got a guest coming in as a new Financial Peace University class is being started up around these parts. And I can fully recommend the program of FPU. I've gone through it. I've done it. Stephanie and I have worked through those steps and read the books. And Dave Ramsey, he always says, anybody who's followed my stuff to the letter has never come back and complained that oh man, now I've got all this extra money laying around. And when you pay off these, small debts first, it's hard to wrap your brain around those kind of things. Oh my gosh, I got so much in this account, and then this one's only like a little amount, so I'll get to that. but it's the psychology of small wins leading up to big wins. And it works. It works. And it's amazing if you start writing things down, budgets monthly. I had such a hard time, the first 2 budgets that we wrote down, just trying to understand that like he says, every dollar should have a place to go. And it's hard for me to do that, to think out into the future. Like, oh, well, I'm going to need $17 for my gummy bears.
You probably should not be doing gummy bears.
Okay, so $15 for gummy bears.
The beginning of your budget. But so who was the person that was pushing it, you or Stephanie?
Well, it was me who was pushing it, and it was really Dave who was pushing it once we added him to our daily lineup here on KMAS, which I think it was a great decision to put him on there because it's personally helped me, and I know some other folks that have started to go through this.
Well, you hear it every day. Finally, you start listening.
Go, okay, yeah, you hear it every day, and then finally you start listening.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. So I started up and I talked to Stephanie about these kind of concepts, and she's got a good understanding of finances, so it wasn't too difficult.
Right.
But definitely, well, listen, you got to be on the same page. You got to both go, this is something we're going to do. Otherwise, like the calls, every day you get a call, there's always the resentment. Well, my husband doesn't want to do it. My wife thinks I'm an idiot. You know, these kind of things. And if you're not on the same page,
right?
And like many things, just like what we do here, if we're not on the same page,
then it's all
flounder.
crazy.
All right, looking. Anyways, good morning, everybody. It's Daybreak here, and 7:16. We'll take a break here in just a second, and then talk about some other things that are happening. You're looking at some news notes.
I am
from the morning. What do you got here for us?
Well, we have a Washington Republican senator who won't be seeking re-election. We have a resigning of the health state's largest agency. The Department of Social and Health Services is resigning.
Wow, DSHS. What's going on there? Any information on the person who's leaving or why they're leaving?
Yes. Secretary Kevin Quigley, he's going to be resigning. He told everybody yesterday. He said he's actually, let's see, does he say why he's resigning? Nope, not really say why he's resigning, but he just is. So
interesting.
Yep, that's going to be a big Inslee is going to have to name a successor.
Wow.
You know, so I don't know.
What is their agency?
Well, he said 3 years was the right amount of time in that role. I guess that's his deal. 3 years is probably too long.
I'm sorry. You know, Dale was showing me something the other day. What time is it? We got a little bit of time here. Dale was showing me this video the other day, and he says people like up to 35 are going to have some like 18 different jobs before they find out what they're going to. What happened to staying at a place?
Because there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee anymore that your place is going to be there for you. That's one of the main things.
But so the employee has to.
And there's not as many benefits as there used to be. Everybody was cutting benefits across the board, so you would move to the place that was better for you.
That's true.
I mean, that is sort of what most businesses say. If you don't like it, find something better. So that's sort of what people have started doing. I don't actually see anything wrong with that, other than something like this. I don't know. Maybe 3 years was enough. Maybe he just isn't the right person. But maybe he thinks that a successor will be more in tune to what it actually needs. I mean, it's a hard thing. I mean, I personally think like people in elected official capacity should not be in there for a lifetime career, because I feel like you get into it and you lose your sense of what you wanted to get done when you were looking at it.
Sure. Well, that's one of the big detractions against our sitting Senator Patty Murray, who's up for re-election, I think this year, is that she went into Washington as the other Washington's soccer mom, or she wore her tennis shoes. Like that was her deal.
Right.
But now she's been there for 20, 30 years or something.
Right. And then on their defense, they say, well, they know all these things. They want to get this, blah, blah, blah. I can pass that on to lobbyists, which most of them all go do anyways.
It's true.
So I don't know. I mean, I think like you were saying earlier, try new things, but you have to look at all the factors of the new things that are happening. I mean, there's just we can't think in our bubbles. We have to think outside of the box on when we're moving forward.
Still, just
how did we even get there?
Well, I was talking about some 18 different jobs that somebody's going to get before they. Now, let me clarify and say that this position that I have currently here at KMAS would probably be technically considered my first adult job. So, like after college, I knew I wanted to do radio. So I piddled around and did karaoke here, DJ music stuff there, just so I wouldn't get entrenched in a job that I would not eventually be happy with, because you get the money and you're like, oh, well, okay, I guess this is not that bad.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, you're there for 35 years.
I know, but I think it also broadens your outlook when you see a lot more things.
Okay. You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom31.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom31.com. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom31.com.
Get ready. It's time to tee it up with Keith Jones.
Are you going to hit the shot that you need to hit? Or are you going to be trying something new just because it looks fancy? So one of, the basic truths, the self-evident truths that we have in the book is that you always choose functional over fancy.
Tee it up with Keith Jones.
Tune in all season long to NFL Insider on Westwood One. Hi, this is Mark Malone. Join me each week as we whip around the league and break down the NFL. We'll hear from today's stars and yesterday's heroes as James Lofton sits down with a fellow member of the Hall of Fame. We'll also check in with former greats Rod Woodson and Donovan McNabb to help us break down all the latest NFL news. That's NFL Insider right here.
Sunday morning at 6:30 on KMAS.
Hi, I'm Jim Goodpaster, and I'm listening to KMAS Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. It's Daybreak here at KMAS. Woke up this morning hearing the news of a potential hydrogen bomb test in North Korea. Now, the North Koreans say they have successfully tested a hydrogen bomb because there was a subsequent 5.1 earthquake measured in the country near the site where they had done other tests previously, about 12 miles northeast of some places. And the South Korean Weather Agency said that indications were that it was an artificial earthquake. We have perfectly succeeded in testing our first hydrogen bomb, an anchor said on North Korean state TV. It was 100% capable from our own wisdom, technology, and power. We have now scientifically test-proved a miniaturized hydrogen bomb.
Why?
Why are they testing these? That's a great question.
Why do they need them? I guess because everybody else has one?
Well, you got to show your gravitas.
I know. It just seems so, I guess I just imagine our future is just more peaceful than it actually is.
So the hydrogen bomb, and I was trying to figure out what it was. And it has made a major step forward if it's legit. Some people are saying there's no way that they could do this. It was too similar to the earthquakes for their nuclear bombs, which is not anything to just, bat an eye at. The plutonium-based atomic weapons it tested up until the point were pretty powerful. United States dropped such weapons on Japan to end World War II, but a hydrogen bomb made with uranium ups the ante many-fold. And so it's called fission, and they split plutoniums into smaller atoms, and then there's just tons and tons of energy. So I'm just trying to figure out a thing here that says the
especially it really was a nuclear test conducted, and so what type of test was done. I mean, obviously they know it, but they have to get the official information. One official says they don't believe North Korea has the capability for a hydrogen bomb, but they can't be certain until they actually test that. So.
Plus that, and it's not like they let them in to go walk around and look at stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, they could be the most... Could be like Atlantis over there, right? Because they say Atlantis was so technologically advanced and no one had ever seen it or anything.
And then it just is gone under the water.
They just leave it, private.
Yeah, could be. It's hard to say.
Privacy settings are very high. It's interesting. If you look at art fraud, this is a fun.
Okay.
So the original Mona Lisa. Have you heard about this?
I did hear about it.
So like it was painted whenever, a long time ago.
Right.
And now if you find a Mona Lisa, and some people may think it's a fake. Well, there's a certain element that you can test for that is in everything now since we dropped the bombs back in the 40s. Anything before that, this element would not have been found.
Really?
So that's a way that you can test the legitimacy of some of the things. There's a certain element that is now in our atmosphere because of our tests,
right,
and our bombs.
Okay.
So like when people were selling fake Mona Lisas, that was one of the ways.
Oh, okay. No, I actually heard a different story on the Mona Lisa, that it's been it's a repainted over the top of the original.
No.
The original looks nothing. Okay, it does look similar, but it's not the Mona Lisa that we all see. That was not the painting. It was painted over to look like that.
That Leonardo da Vinci, tell you what, he was something else. They're finding all sorts of things, like behind his art, behind walls of buildings that he supposedly lived in, fake backs and pieces of, he did the helicopter. Yeah. And like the submarine.
Drawings.
These drawings are just amazing.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
I am not concerned about North Korea this morning. I don't feel like maybe their missiles can reach here. I don't think they can. South Korea, of course, they're looking north, trying to figure out what's going on. And Japan, I think, as well. But waking up this morning, hearing this news, I don't think it changed the way I'm going through the day. You?
It's something. No, because it's always been a wild card.
Sure.
Speaking of wild cards, but you never know what's going to go on over there. That's the only thing, I guess, that is more worrisome.
You just don't know.
You just don't know. I mean, it's like Pinky in the Brain. It just wants to rule the world.
Rule the world, exactly. 7:27 here at KMAS, and a good morning to you. We got the news from Mary Lynn Foster coming up shortly. The main thing that Mary Lynn's top story deals with is the main thing at the top story of KMAS.com here. Mayor Gary Krantz called for a year-long moratorium on City of Shelton development impact fees, water hookup fees, sewer line connection charges, and more in a meeting the other day. Jeff Chu reported on this, and people are starting to comment it. We would like for you to as well comment and see what's going on there. And it is just about time for us to break to the news. We'll check the weather as well. Make sure you know when to tune in to KMAS this weekend for some playoff football. We've made it. It's wild card weekend. The Hawks are in.
Very exciting.
See how far they make it here on KMAS.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
Hi, this is Alex Jones on KMAS News Radio. I live a cloak and dagger life, and I'm not looking for trouble. I'm not looking for revolution. I just want my republic back. I want my Bill of Rights back. I want due process back. I don't want special interest shining us on to tens of trillions of dollars that aren't our debt and sinking the republic. And there's all these enemy programs trying to misrepresent who we are and what we say because the government listens to us. Good people in the military, in the Congress, in the state houses.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Mary Lynn Foster. The Mason County Sheriff's Office now has another option to avoid overcrowding at the county jail. County Commissioners Terry Jeffries, Tim Sheldon, and Randy Netherland unanimously approved a contract yesterday that allows the county sheriff's office to house inmates in Lewis County. The agreement gives the sheriff's office a third jail to hold an overflow of Mason County inmates beyond the county's existing jail contracts with Nisqually Corrections in Yelm and the city of Forks. Mason County Jail has been open since 1986 when it housed less than 45 inmates. Today, the jail houses as many as 150 inmates a day. Under the agreement, Mason County agrees to pay Lewis County a little over $60 a day for each inmate housed. Inmates classified as high needs are to be housed for $90 a day. High needs inmates are defined as having special housing or requiring additional corrections officers. Mason County Undersheriff Jim Barrett says the Lewis County contract allows law enforcement and the courts to prosecute and sentence lawbreakers and makes the community safer. During this week's City Commission meeting, Mayor Gary Krantz called for a year-long moratorium on City of Shelton development impact fees, water hookup fees, sewer line connection charges, and sidewalk requirements for residential lots. Krantz wants to bolster the city's economic growth through home building. The commissioners asked city staff to come up with a proposal and bring it back to the commission before spring construction begins. Among audience members opposing Krantz's proposal was former city commissioner Mike Olson, who accused the mayor and newly seated Commissioner Kathy McDowell of pandering to special interests rather than the interests of Shelton residents. McDowell defeated Olson in the November general election for the Commissioner of Finance and Accounting position. McDowell, who attended her first city commission meeting Monday night, said a one-year moratorium was not a very long time to give it a try. The Mason County coroner has completed an autopsy for a scuba diver who died while diving in Hood Canal on Sunday. West Stockwell determined that 56-year-old Todd Randall McDonald died from saltwater drowning. He said that additional tests will be conducted to determine what events led up to the drowning. State shellfish managers have approved razor clam digs starting later this week at Long Beach and Copalis Beach. Digs at both beaches are on evening tides and include a 2-day opening, January 8th and 9th at Copalis, and an 8-day dig, January 7th through 14th at Long Beach. All diggers age 15 or older must have an applicable fishing license to harvest razor clams on any beach. Licenses are available on WDFW's website at wdfw.wa.gov. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
Stop by Mason PUD 3's Shelton or Belfair offices this month and pick up your free 2016 PUD calendar. The calendar has important tips for energy efficiency, storm preparation, and contact information, so it's always close at hand. The calendar also has beautiful photos of Mason County scenery. Supplies are limited, so get your calendar before they're all gone. Mason PUD number 3, providing clean, renewable, and reliable energy every day.
Hi, this is Alex Jones on KMAS News Radio. And I'm basically here exposing this. I told you about militarization of police 20 years ago. I told you about the plan for gun confiscation. I told you about the PDDs. Now we're far down the rat hole, and they're now want to do 10-state giant drills with plain clothes, doing, quote, suspicious things, and practicing taking over local government, practicing taking out civilians, and snatch and grabs. And of course it has dual applications for overseas. But the main mission is a PSYOP.
3. I'm Jeff Slakey taking a look at sports, reading over USA Today this morning. The St. Louis Rams want to move back to Los Angeles because the St. Louis market is a dud. And because attendance is bad, despite significant investments in the team by the Rams owner, Stan Kroenke, according to the team's relocation filing obtained Tuesday night by USA Today Sports. Stadium officials in St. Louis also failed to keep a big promise they made to lure the team from LA the first time in '95 to provide the Rams with a first-tier stadium in St. Louis. They think that LA is just a more superior place to have the Rams and have them back. And
more
in
sunny,
St. Louis.
maybe.
St. Louis is just not a 3 professional team market because they've got the Cards,
flooding,
the Hockey Blues, and the NFL Rams, and plus it floods. That's right. So that's interesting. So now the Rams are definitely not going to be friendly in St. Louis. If for whatever reason they're now going to be stuck there, they're not going to come to LA. Who knows what's going to happen? We'll monitor it, of course. Other sporting news: it's Wild Card Weekend this weekend, and Kansas City and Houston get things going Saturday. Then Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Sunday morning, we've got the game for you. The Seahawks pregame at 8, kickoff at 10, taking on the Minnesota Vikings, and then Green Bay at Washington. Tonight on KMAS.com, join us for another online video cast of Shelton basketball. The North Thurston boys come to the Mini Dome. And our coverage with Sean Wells starts right around 7. Last night, Sean was in North Mason to see Squim beat North Mason in girls basketball 34-24, and Olympic over Bremerton 75-66. Otherwise, coming up throughout the rest of the week here in Shelton sports, today is in wrestling, the North Mason duel, little inter-county matchup there. Tomorrow, bowling against Foss in Tacoma and Lincoln, and some basketball games coming up this rest of the week. Taking a look now at the weather, here's Carol at 7:36.
Morning, Jeff.
Morning.
37 degrees out right now. It's foggy, and it's going to be a high today of 45. It looks like it's going to be clear with some clouds today. No rain forecasted, partly cloudy and sunny the rest of the week. Saturday and Sunday look clear all day. This is the forecast for right now. It sounds great. Right now, it's 37.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now from the shores of Hood Canal, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. It is Daybreak here. Also, one more sports note for you. At noon today, they'll make the announcements of who gets into Cooperstown in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And, you know, there's a lot of reports that say when they release those numbers, the kid, Griffey Jr., could get 100%. That means everybody realizes how awesome Griffey is. I mean, we've all known for years. Mm-hmm. Pretty interesting stuff. One of the big movies this year. It hasn't, I don't think, won any records like Star Wars has.
Right.
But it's the remake, reboot, retelling of the story of Apollo Creed and his time with Sylvester Stallone as being Rocky. Now, Sylvester wrote the first 5 or 6 of those Rocky movies. He did all those stuff. He did not write this newest one, Creed. Great movie. Michael B. Jordan is Apollo Creed's kid. He finds Rocky. They bond, form a friendship. It's supposed to be a great movie.
Yeah, and Stallone's nominated for a Golden Globe. So for his iconic characters, Rocky Balboa and Creed. So he was also asked if he would do another Rocky movie. He said, "No more Rambo."
Oh, Rambo. No more Rambo.
No more Rambo. I mean, he was, I'm totally mixing up the two movies.
Sure.
So, but he was asked if he would do another Rambo movie. And he said, no, I'm not going to do any more Rambo movies because he just can't. He just said he wouldn't be able to do better than the last time he could do it. He's just getting older.
The other thing is,
that's all he says.
Aren't there enough people in the military? I mean, why do they keep calling Rambo to fix the deal?
I know, exactly.
He's 69 years old.
I know. I don't know.
I've never seen a Rambo movie.
No way, really?
Never seen
one. Got four Rambo movies.
Got a bunch to choose from.
Fox is developing a TV project with Rambo, and Stallone is not involved in it. It's going to be Rambo and his son. That's why I was getting mixed up with Rocky Balboa and his son. Stallone sounds a little skeptical. He says he's not, you can't really replace a good character with the son, but maybe, who knows? We'll see.
The son of Rambo.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So, Jeff, here's another
what do you got for me?
Sort of a funny story. And I love it how it's allegedly inebriated.
You can tell.
A drunk Ohio woman, she led cops on a brief car chase, and she was thought to be bleeding from the mouth. But then it turns out it was actually barbecue sauce from the wings she was eating mid-pursuit.
So she was on a car chase. Eating wings.
Oh, there's some lights behind me.
Driving.
Wonder what those lights are.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so they thought she was all bloodied.
Yeah, they thought she was bloodied, which is pretty funny. So another story that I just saw briefly, I don't know any of the details, but speaking of police and car chases, you can get a dash cam for yourself, and they're an all-time low right now. Dash cam.
A dash cam?
Yeah.
Motorcyclists, you got to get a camera.
Oh, you do?
No, I mean, you don't. It's not like mandated, but if you spend any time on a motorcycle, I mean, the amount of cutoffs and quick close
so you
calls.
can turn people in?
Oh, so you have record of what's going on. You got to have a dash cam. It's not just to do tricks.
Anyway, it's pretty funny.
7:41 here at KMAS, KMAS.com. Later this morning, we'll see if later this morning, we've got a new transit talk, and big ups to MTA, Community Transportation Association of America's 2015 Rural Transportation System of the Year. Wow, that's a great thing. Transit Community Center has led in energy and environmental designs, getting a silver certification. So we'll talk to Brad about these things and what 2016 has to hold for Mason Transit. I'm a big proponent of public transportation.
So am I. I would write it, but it leaves too early.
Well.
So, Jeff, on some of your news resolutions, you're doing walking. Does that involve maintaining your weight or what?
I'm not going to actively, I'm not going to live or die by the scale, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, me neither. So it's interesting how healthy is one of the best for shredding excess pounds. First, I thought it was the dash, the dine and dash diet, but not quite the same thing.
The dine and dash, the dash diet. I'm not familiar with this.
Me neither, because I don't really follow diets anymore, but it's basically just choosing overall healthy options.
Oh.
I mean, emphasize healthy groups. But I think what the main thing that some of these diets have in common, which are why they work, is because they have a support group behind them.
You got to have a good support system.
And I think that is really the only way that it works.
That's a good point. The DASH diet. 7:43 here at KMAS. Take a quick break. We'll come back, and Tony DiNozzo is hanging it up. We'll tell you more on that story right after this at 7:43 at KMAS.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Whitney Chevrolet says if you have an auto accident during bad weather, remain calm. you during the bad weather. A safe driving tip from Whitney Chevrolet.
The Lucky Eagle Casino says, before you start up that car, be sure you've thoroughly scraped and cleaned all of your car's windows, headlights, tail lights, and turn signals. In wintertime, the Lucky Eagle Casino reminds you it's wise to see and be seen.
Take control of your money. Start by listening to The Dave Ramsey Show.
If you invest $100 a month from age 25 to age 65 or age 30 to age 70 in a decent growth stock mutual fund, you'd have $1,176,000. $100 a month and you're a millionaire. If I'm half wrong, you're still okay. You got $500,000. Don't call me when you're 65. Broke. Hi, this is Dave Ramsey. Tune into my show weekdays from noon to 3 here on KMAS.
This is Men's Health Live from Men's Health Magazine.
Lou, how do we account for this nation full of heavy people?
We eat a lot of foods that our bodies simply, throughout our evolutionary history, we haven't encountered these. Our grandparents didn't encounter these foods. In a lot of cases, our parents didn't encounter these foods. So we have absolutely no defense mechanism.
Men's Health Live, the radio show that's full of tons of useful stuff from the biggest and best-selling men's lifestyle magazine in the world.
Access anywhere in the world, 24/7. My Mason has appointment providers, access test results, and so much more. Wherever you can get an internet connection, you can access your secure online health record from home, work, or anywhere in the world. Ask how you can get connected with My Mason Health at your next hospital or clinic visit.
Mason General Hospital and family of clinics. Equal opportunity provider. Translation services provided.
Mason General and family of clinics.
Take KMAS wherever you go with our new free KMAS mobile app. It's a free download from either your Apple or Android device. Check out the latest news and even listen wherever you have a signal. Search KMAS and download our free KMAS app today.
Hi, this is Tom Davis, concerned citizen. You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
7:46 here on a Wednesday morning, and a good morning to you. We've got high school basketball on KMAS.com tonight. Join Sean Wells live from the Mini Dome as we'll be video casting Shelton boys basketball against the North Thurston Rams this weekend. We've got lots of great football action for you here on KMAS as it's wild card weekend. Sunday morning is when the Hawks play. We'll have that pregame at 8 and kickoff at 10. Coming up next hour, we'll have Brad Patterson from the Mason Transit Authority coming in for our transit talk and port of call just after the 8:30 news. At 8:45 is when we'll talk with Dick and John from the Port of Shelton. 13 years. Very special agent Tony DiNozzo has helped wrap up those cases on NCIS, one of the greatest shows. Now, you don't watch this show.
I know. I don't know why.
I don't know how you don't watch this show. It's on USA constantly.
I know. A lot of people watch it. It's great. Isn't there a bunch of different... Does NCIS have the bunch of different ones?
So there's NCIS, which is number one, of course. Then there's NCIS LA, which is pretty good. I like it. It's a little too action-y for me. I mean, they're supposed to be secret agents, I think. But they're always out there running around blowing things up. People don't know who they are. Come on. Then there's that new one, Nick's New Orleans, NCIS New Orleans with Scott Bakula.
Okay. So NCIS has the cities after their names, and CSI has just different titles, but there's a whole bunch of CSIs,
well,
right?
all the CSIs have gone, I think, and now there's just CSI Cyber.
You're right. That is true. My sister is a big fan of CSI. We actually went over that. And obviously, I'm not keeping up on these shows.
You got to catch up with these things. So CBS confirmed Tuesday that Michael Weatherly, who plays very special agent Tony DiNozzo, will be leaving the show at the end of this season. 13 years. On NCIS. He's leaving the show. Valued part of the CBS family, and he's such a great character on there. He's a big movie buff, so he's always talking about movies, and his dad is not Robert Robert Goulet, not Robert Goulet.
Well, it's 13 years, long enough to stay in one job.
It is. I guess if you're doing what you love, then it doesn't matter how long you're there.
Yeah.
So NCIS also stars summer school star Mark Harmon and Polly Perrette. She's the one that dresses in all goth.
Mm-hmm.
Abby Shudo is her name. So fun show. Oh, that'll be interesting. First, Ziva David left. They got that other new girl in there who I like in the slot there. And now DiNozzo's leaving. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Twitter at 1030 KMAS is where you can find all of our latest tweets and information that we'll pass on to folks. Any interesting stories you're finding or weather-related, traffic-related situations going on?
Not much right now. I mean, we have somebody, DOT tweeted a picture of the Cascades, and it's the sun is rising, and it looks very pretty out there. So it's going to be nice today when the sun starts rising around here. What did you say the sunrise was at 7:50?
Yeah, we're about 10 minutes away from the official sunrise.
And then it will 4:38 is when the sun is going to go down.
So tonight's a big night on Fox. American Idol.
Yeah.
Starts at Swung.
Another one I don't watch.
You need to get in on these things, Carol.
I know, I
was watching the preview the other day, and it's the commercial for American Idol where the girl's playing on the piano, and her and Harry Connick share a moment, and Jennifer Lopez gets goosebumps, and Harry reads this email from a family member, and it's a beautiful message about good luck to you. Turns out it was the girl's mother.
Mm-hmm.
Who was in the army or something like that. And she comes around the corner. They show that commercial, and I'm blubbering. I'm just, it's so sad. I mean, in a joyous way. Kanye West tried out for American Idol. They had that clip. They released that clip yesterday. It's going to be a good.
You mean like way back when?
No, there with him. Magic. It's been on for a really long time, and it swept the world, and everybody knows who Kelly Clarkson is. Everybody knows who Carrie Underwood is, and everybody knows who Fantasia Barrino is. But recently, the numbers have dropped off, and so Ryan Seacrest, the MC for the show, thinks that folks that have dropped off will come back for the final year. I think it's a great idea to tell folks ahead of time that this is the last season. We're going to bring back all the judges, including Simon and Ellen, and Steven Tyler was a judge for a season.
Really?
Yeah, and so
It'll be a full house.
I think it's just going to be a lot of fun with American Idol starting up again. This is going to be a big show. 7:51 here at KMAS and KMAS.com. We thank you so much for tuning in. Lots of choices out there. And the video is available right at the front page of KMAS.com. 7:51.
Well, I'm sort of doing this day in history.
Okay.
It's a little different. Jeff, who was clubbed on the knee while practicing for the U.S. Figure Skating Championship in 1994? Remember that?
Who was the hittee?
Yeah, the hittee. I was reading it wrong, but the hittee.
It was Nancy Kerrigan, right?
Yes, it was. Dubbed the whack heard round the world. Competitor Tanya Harding's ex-husband attacked Kerrigan with a police baton.
It wasn't just her ex-husband, but also
was her bodyguard.
Jeff Galooly.
Yeah.
Great name to remember.
So everybody's all feeling sorry for her until she was on the Disney parade and her mic was accidentally on, and she said something like, "Do I have to really sit through this Disney?" Did you hear about that?
No, Nancy Kerrigan said that? I thought she was Miss USA.
Yeah, nope. She said something that was just like, why would she even have to be, here?
That is an interesting story. I did not know that.
Yeah, gossiping, I guess. And so here's another question for you.
Okay, that's great.
Which state officially became the 47th U.S. Alaska, Hawaii, Oklahoma, New Mexico?
New Mexico.
Yes. Second to last, New Mexico, 1912.
Second to last of the contiguous.
We
were the history, very cool stuff. Joan of Arc, also born in Domrey in 1412, and King Henry VIII married Anne of Cleves, his fourth wife in 1540. What are you looking at here?
I'm just looking at some interesting.
Oh, they have a quiz on what happened
it's a quiz.
on
So I'm just
January
guessing
6th.
one because I don't know what's going on.
Post that on our Facebook page and see how people do.
Okay, I can do that.
7:54 at KMAS. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the 7 o'clock hour here. Get ready to talk with Brad Patterson from the Mason Transit Authority here on Daybreak on KMAS.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Hi, Tom Hartman here. Join me 9 to noon on News Radio 1030 KMAS. Eventually, something is going to break through all the lies and all the hundreds of millions of dollars the Koch Industries and ExxonMobil and others have spent funding climate change deniers. Eventually, it's going to break through, and people are going to realize that for the last 40 years, they've been lied to by very wealthy people who are lying to us and allowing people to die just so they can protect their wealth. Not even protect their existing wealth, just so they can make more wealth.
Tune in all season long to NFL Preview right here on Westwood One. Hi, this is Boomer Esiason. Join me and Scott Graham each week as we preview the entire NFL schedule. We'll break down each matchup and tell you what to watch out for so you can be ready for all the NFL action. If you want the most comprehensive look inside the National Football League, then you need to tune into NFL Preview right here.
7:30 Sunday morning on AM 1030, FM 103.3, KMAS News Radio.
Hi, this is Terry Shaw from the Mason County Senior Activity Center. You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on News Radio 1030 KMAS. Boy, you're smart listening to this station.
All right, good morning to you. It is Daybreak here at KMAS. The Old Farmer's Almanac coming up just a minute or two from now. In 1987, I thought this interesting. Victoria principal, I don't know if you remember this, filed a $3 million lawsuit against Joan Rivers on her new talk show. Joan decided to call the actress, Victoria, so she could make fun of her live on her TV talk show. Well, as some people do when they dial the phones, like I can take my phone off here, right? You know, turn on the phone, and there you go. 42610. You know, you call out the numbers while you're doing it. Right. That was our station line, by the way. But she actually did the lady's phone number live on the air while she was dialing the call.
No.
So she says mistakenly did that. You know, people do that. Principal received intrusive phone calls for days and days after that. Now, and just think about if it was nowadays with cell phones and all the people, everybody's tweeting and finding out, calling.
It sort of it reminds me of because I was watching some tech stuff this weekend, and yesterday was Tech Tuesday, by the way. If you didn't know, we were blabbing on about it. But you can write an app so your phone, if somebody has their noise on their phone, you can pick up the app. Your phone recorder can pick up somebody's typing in their passwords or their numbers or anything. You're sitting behind them or across from you. Your phone can pick up those ding 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 things and get the number or password or what have you.
I didn't think mine made. So let's try.
Mine doesn't make. Love the
associated with a certain number, like 7.
A dial tone.
Wow.
Yeah, because they have a different tones.
So there, people are able to record the audio of the beep bop boop.
Yeah. Here's another really interesting one. You may have heard of this one. If you can write another app and have your cell phone sitting next to somebody's laptop or keyboard and you're typing in, and it will pick up all the keystrokes and it'll figure out what letters you're typing in.
How is it going to figure out the keystrokes? I mean, a keyboard all sounds the same.
Not to a computer.
So.
Not to an app.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's scary stuff.
It is scary
stuff. That stuff is more scary to me than the test this morning in North Korea, I think.
Well, but aren't they sort of the highest cybersecurity attackers also? They're one of the main ones next to China.
I mean, they supposedly did that.
Allegedly.
Right, allegedly. That Sony hack, wasn't that North Korea?
Yeah.
Because of the interview with James Franco and Seth Rogen. I think it's a great movie, too, don't you?
I think it's a horrible movie.
I think it's funny.
It's a horrible movie.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. You may have outgrown the jungle gym at the neighborhood play park, but another option may Almanac Radio report for Wednesday, January 6th, the 6th day of the year. Banjo virtuoso Earl Scruggs was born on this day, and New Mexico became our 47th state on this day in 1912. As this trend found its way into your community, senior playgrounds. They've been popping up in a few cities, although proponents prefer to use the term outdoor fitness parks. Instead of jungle gyms and monkey bars, you'll find stationary bicycles, leg presses, and games like bocce, horseshoes, and ping pong. Many are found adjacent to children's playgrounds, and that's just fine by most seniors. 5-year-olds, say one woman, aren't nearly as intimidating as a gym full of well-toned fitness junkies. Learn more at almanac.com.
CNBC Business Radio reports are on KMAS Shelton, Monday through Friday, 6:58, 1:33, and 4:33.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase. International tensions are sending shockwaves rippling across Wall Street. The Dow dropped more than 250 points at the open on North Korea's claim that it successfully tested a hydrogen bomb. The UN Security Council is meeting in an emergency session at this hour discussing it. ABC's Martha Raddatz has details.
North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un has tried to accelerate North Korea's nuclear arsenal despite all the condemnation, and he is making it personal, saying this is our sovereign right to protect ourselves from warmongers like the U.S. America, he said, is an evil that tries to destroy us simply because we have different ideas and systems.
Chipotle is under fire again. This time, it's the subject of a federal investigation triggered by a norovirus outbreak linked to one of its California outlets. The chain has also been linked to a second norovirus outbreak and E. coli illnesses. 1,000 miles of California coastline is under warnings, watches, and advisories for rain, flooding, and high surf as El Nino pushes much-needed rain to the drought-ravaged state, but too much too quickly. Storms are expected to continue for at least another week. Virtual reality and drones are being showcased at the Consumer Electronics Show that opens in Las Vegas today. But ABC's Alex Stone tells us terror concerns are also on display.
The security here this year is far tighter. Up to 170,000 people are attending CES this year, and they're making it clear because of the threat environment, all bags are being searched and metal detectors will be used, and no hoverboards because of the fire concern.
Apple stockholders are shivering as shares hover even below the $100 mark, the lowest in a year and a half. Investors are concerned about Apple's cuts in iPhone orders. A 30-second ad on the Super Bowl has hit a new high price, $5 million. Honored to have been shown to President Obama's State of the Union address next week. This is ABC News.
What would an extra $250 a month mean to you? For some, it's a little financial breathing room. For others, it's a car payment, a home repair, or help with college tuition. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I've got some great news if you're looking to save money on your mortgage. All it takes is a simple phone call to Quicken Loans at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. Folks who refinance with HARP can save an average of $250 a month. That's $3,000 a year. Our home loan experts fully understand the HARP guidelines, and they'll walk you through our streamlined process. And for 6 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Every dog has his day, and ABC's Dave Schreiber tells us 2 new dogs are about to get theirs.
They are ready to run with the pack of dog breeds that the American Kennel Club recognizes, the American Hairless Terrier and the Slogie, also called the Arabian Greyhound. They join 187 other recognized breeds. The new additions will take part in most AKC shows and competitions, but they will not be part of the Westminster Kennel Club show until next year. Many American hairless terriers are bare-skinned. Others have short coats. They are good pets for people with dog allergies. The Sloji was developed to hunt game as large as gazelles. Dave Schreiber, ABC News.
For those who can't get enough of 60s heartthrobs, Peter Noon of Herman's Hermits and Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees are going on a talking tour. They'll be questioning each other at small theaters in New York and New Jersey. Noon promises he'll do most of the asking and ask questions no one's ever asked Dolenz ever before. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Mary Lynn Foster. The Mason County Sheriff's Office now has another option to avoid overcrowding at the county jail. County Commissioners Terry Jeffries, Tim Sheldon, and Randy Netherland unanimously approved a contract yesterday that allows the county sheriff's office to house inmates in Lewis County. The agreement gives the sheriff's office a third jail to hold an overflow of Mason County inmates beyond the county's existing jail contracts with Nisqually Corrections in Yelm and the city of Forks. Mason County Jail has been open since 1986 when it housed less than 45 inmates. Today, the jail houses as many as 150 inmates a day. Under the agreement, Mason County agrees to pay Lewis County a little over $60 a day for each inmate housed. Inmates classified as high needs are to be housed for $90 a day. High needs inmates are defined as having special housing or requiring additional corrections officers. Mason County Undersheriff Jim Barrett says the Lewis County contract allows law enforcement and the courts to prosecute and sentence City Commission meeting, Mayor Gary Krantz called for a year-long moratorium on City of Shelton development impact fees, water hookup fees, sewer line connection charges, and sidewalk requirements for residential lots. Krantz wants to bolster the city's economic growth through home building. The commissioners asked city staff to come up with a proposal and bring it back to the commission before spring construction begins. Among audience members opposing Krantz's proposal was former City Commissioner Mike Olson, who accused the mayor and newly seated Commissioner Kathy McDowell of pandering to special interests rather than the interests of Shelton residents. McDowell defeated Olson in the November general election for the Commissioner of Finance and Accounting position. McDowell, who attended her first City Commission meeting Monday night, said a one-year moratorium was not a very long time to give it a try. The Mason County coroner has completed an autopsy for a scuba diver who died while diving in Hood Canal on Sunday. West Stockwell determined that 56-year-old Todd Randall McDonald died from saltwater drowning. He said that additional tests will be conducted to determine what events led up to the drowning. State shellfish managers have approved razor clam digs starting later this week at Long Beach and Copalis Beach. Digs at both beaches are on evening tides and include a 2-day opening, January 8th and 9th at Copalis, and an 8-day dig, January 7th through 14th at Long Beach. All diggers age 15 or older must have an applicable fishing license to harvest razor clams on any beach. Licenses are available on WDFW's website at wdfw.wa.gov. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
Take control of your money. Start by listening to The Dave Ramsey Show.
If you want to play around with getting out of debt, you will never get out of debt. The way you get out of debt is you get fired up and you pop it in the nose, and you pop it in the nose again, and you pop it in the nose again. You gotta get after it, man. And don't be trying to play some kind of game with this stuff. This is a snake, and it needs to be crushed. As far as I'm concerned, all snakes are poisonous. It's pretty easy. Hi, this is Dave Ramsey. Tune into my show weekdays from noon to 3 here on KMAS.
Hi, I'm Ken Slater, the Roof Doctor. If you're like me, your family's important, so make sure that they're well taken care of. One of the best ways to do that is to provide a safe and warm home to live in. For over 50 years, the Roof Doctor has been helping families stay safe and warm by building roofs that last for generations. Our teams have some of the most experienced roofers in the area, and we only use the highest quality materials to keep your family safe, warm, and dry. That's the Roof Doctor. Give us a call.
For News Radio 1030 KMAS, FM 1033, and KMAS.com. Good morning to you. It's 8:08. I'm Jeff Slakey, and we are looking at sports. First off, Ryan Burrows from ABC has this report on today's Hall of Fame announcements.
And that ball is melted! Ken Griffey Jr. clubbed his way to the top of the 2016 class. Over 22 seasons, he smashed 630 homers. Snagged an American League MVP award and was named to 13 All-Star teams. The question that remains, will he be the first ever unanimous selection? Closer Trevor Hoffman and catcher Jason Kendall are among the other first-timers on the ballot. Mike Piazza, Tim Raines, and Jeff Bagwell are hoping to reach that coveted 80% mark after being on the ballot for several years. Ryan Burrow, ABC News.
That is exciting. It happens at noon, and we'll have all the announcements and information for you coming up tomorrow morning on Daybreak. Football, the Hawks are going to play in Minnesota this weekend in the first round of the playoffs, wild card weekend. There are other games going on, and here's the lowdown. Saturday, Kansas City at Houston, and then Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Sunday, we've got the morning game, like I mentioned. 10:05 the kickoff. Our coverage begins at 8. Afterwards, Green Bay at Washington. Again, KMAS AM 1030 and FM 1033 will air all the games this weekend. Tonight on KMAS.com, join us for another online video cast of Shelton basketball. North Thurston boys come to the Mini Dome, and our coverage with Sean Wells starts right around 7 o'clock. They coming to the Miss 78, and they'll host the Clippers tonight at the Moda Center. And Kerry Williams, who played for 10 games in Seattle, has signed an agreement to be on the Washington Redskins team and will likely be available for this Sunday's wild card game. Mentioned Sean Wells doing our video cast tonight. He was in North Mason last night watching the Squim North Mason girls basketball game. Squim came out on top 34-24, and other scores from girls basketball Olympic over Bremerton 75-66. Looking ahead to the sports docket this week for Shelton, wrestling, it's the North Mason Duel tonight at 7 at North Mason High School. Tomorrow, bowling against Foss at Narrows Plaza. And North Thurston in boys swimming tomorrow at the Shelton High School swimming pool. More wrestling on the way and basketball throughout the rest of the week. But right now, let's find out what the weather looks like.
Right now it's 38. It's foggy this morning, then partly cloudy this afternoon with a high of 46. It's going to be partly cloudy with sunshine through Friday. Temps staying in the low 40s. Overnight temps in the low 30s. Friday and Saturday right now look great with full sun, though highs will still be staying in the low 40s and overnight in the low 30s. Today's going to be an 8-hour, 39-minute day of light.
Oh.
And we have full moon coming up on January 23rd.
Very good.
Right now it's 38.
Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now, from the gateway to the Olympic Mountains, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. It's 8:12 here at KMAS, and in just a couple of moments, we are going to start transit talk here on Daybreak. Brad Patterson's going to be in studio with us, and MTA got the 2015 Rural Transportation System of the Year Award for the Community Transportation Association of America. Also, that Transit Community Center was big last year. It got some leadership awards in energy and environmental design. We'll talk about all this with Brad here shortly. After Brad Patterson, we'll check in with the news and Mary Lynn Foster, and then Port of Call on the air today with Dick Taylor and John Dobson. The first port meeting got underway. They have signed in the newest commissioner. Morgan has been remaining as the commission chair, so he'll be back in with John Dobson today. It's coming
You're
up.
Listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom31.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 31.com. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom31.com.
Hi, this is Alex Jones on KMAS News Radio. First, they disarm the people, then they disarm the police, the state police, the local police, except for special paramilitary special event police that are the new Praetorian Guard. And then they serve under the UN. That's why Austin police, DC police, New York police are all in these international exchange programs. Sound reasonable on the surface, but they're all being unified into one global standardized command.
This is Men's Health Live from Men's Health Magazine.
Tell us a little bit about this whole girl next door thing in Men's Health.
I think guys are sometimes, as well-intentioned as they are, they get kind of confused because women are complicated creatures, and I just try to do a little explaining.
Men's Health Live, the radio show that's full of tons of useful stuff from the biggest and best-selling men's lifestyle magazine in the world, Men's Health.
Good morning, this is Bob Burbridge from the Mason County Fire Chiefs, and you're listening to Jeff and Dale on Daybreak.
All right, good morning to you. It is Daybreak here, 8:15 on KMAS. Carol and I are here on a Wednesday, and a good morning to you.
So we are going to be talking to the public transportation.
Oh, here he is right here. Perfect.
Brad. Yep.
Just speak of the devil. That
right.
Works out
There
good.
we
We'll
go.
tell people about the big Powerball jackpot here shortly.
I was going to say, if you win the jackpot, you could probably buy your own fleet of buses.
Some of these buses, I don't know, some of these buses these days are pretty darn nice.
Yeah, that's
very nice buses. All right, so we'll take another quick break here, and we'll get Brad situated, and we'll have a great conversation with him as we start transit talk here on KMAS. That's coming up next.
The craziness is returning to the kennel.
Wiltshire behind his back with a dribble, and he scores. Zach Kornowski to his left, pulls up, shoots, scores, and a foul.
Zags basketball from IMG.
Corners, Nelson driving, baseline, and a two-handed throw-down dunk. Oh my goodness, Silas Nelson.
From tip-off to the final buzzer.
And throws it down with two hands.
Follow the action all season long on your home for Bulldogs basketball, the Gonzaga IMG Sports Network.
Hi, this is Mike Patty, Assistant Chief with Central Mason Fire and EMS, and you're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS.
I gotta remember that people are able to see. You know, I may not look like I'm happy, but I'm always constantly very happy. All right,
I've got a child.
That's what
Calling
it is.
all alphas.
I'm tired.
Cigar David. Yeah, nobody else has one.
Because of that. All right, let's start our transit talk this morning, and we're very happy to have, for the first time this year, Brad Patterson in studio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Excited to talk with you about Mason Transit. I'm a huge fan of transit, public transportation, buses. I've been involved in bus riding since I was
involved.
One 1 year old. I mean,
rides the bus.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. And I have a mouthful here to ask you about. Let me see if I can even say it correctly. I suppose if I was Dale, I probably wouldn't even be able to say this. Just joking.
Let's talk
just transit, though, just for a second. The word transit.
All right.
I was thinking as I was driving in this morning, and this is one of the challenges, I think, in our business. You think radio, boom, we all know. You go right to it, right? You think banana, you know exactly what it is. You think, crab, whatever. Transit. What is that?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because you don't go to, if you said bus, you said train, plane, ferry, whatever, you go right to that. You say transit, you're stepping back a step. And what is transit?
And encompassing all.
So where did that come from? Because Mason Transit, Intercity Transit, Grace Harbor Transit. I mean, it's all transit.
Well, it's transit to move, and so it's all to move, get mobility one place to another.
So we're going to be getting some planes and
all sorts of expanding the fleet.
There's this great story. Was it Columbia? I think it is the city of Columbia. This really poor neighborhood, and it's been completely regenerated because of an escalator.
Really?
Yeah. It's such hilly country. Escalator of the world. It's like a 6-lane escalator, or whatever. And it stair steps up the mountain in various segments. And because of that mobility of population, of people coming in, going out, and everything, it's really helped turn the community around. One of the poorest areas of, slum. I would never think.
Wow. And that is, in a sense, a transit, moving people from one to the other.
Yeah, whatever the format is. Yeah,
that is amazing.
Yeah, here we mostly use buses, of course. We're not quite there for light rail.
And it's not just the big buses that you use. Do you have some smaller buses that go to outlier areas?
And with all of our programs, it even gets down. Our volunteer driver program gets down to a volunteer's personal car that they're using. Okay. We'll talk about that later. Sure. At some point down the road, but from there all the way up to the 40-foot coaches.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys got some big awards, Carol, here. What do you got?
Community Transportation Association of America 2015 Rural Transportation System of the Year.
Yeah.
That is a mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
Break that down for me. What is that?
Well, there's 2 national organizations in transit that represent transit. They do education, they do lobbying, they do, they're the associations. APTA is the American Public Transportation Association, and that's mostly large transit agencies. That's the King County Metros and the Pierce Transits and so forth. And then CTAA, Community Transportation Association of America, is all the rural and small agencies. They've got over 4,000 members around the country. And so, every year they select the best rural transit system in the country. And so for 2015, we were selected.
That's great. Yeah. So what did they say? Why did they say you were, not that you aren't great, but what?
A combination of things. You got the cake and you got the topping on the cake, right? The topping on the cake was the Transit Community Center, the first of its kind in the country.
Right, and it's really nice.
Yeah. It's not been done anywhere. You see transit centers that have businesses in with them, retail business or whatever, that help pay the cost of the transit center. You don't see it with a community center. How many transit centers? Tell me, raise your hands. How many transit centers have you seen around the country that have a gym?
Yeah.
Have a commercial kitchen and those kinds of things. So the rest of it is just the history of the agency and all the programs, the innovation that's been done, the level of service, being fare free or prepaid, however you want to describe it, is certainly not very common at all. To be a countywide system, all the regional connections, so just a combination of all those things. Good safety record and so forth.
That's great.
In addition to that award that Carol was just talking in, the Transit Community Center that you brought up, got the Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design Silver certification.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means, and that's a requirement basically now for any public building in the state of Washington and in other states, some other states. It's a national certification for energy efficiency. And so you look at the former Armory, now the TCC, it's really the new building. You got the gym and the old Armory, and then the new building that replaced where the garage was. We call that informally the Leeds building, because that's the building that got us the Leeds certification. It's really hard to get it on you do your how it's designed, all the energy systems to be highly energy efficient. And so there's I think 3 or 4 levels of leads, and so we got the silver level with that. So we're here in a few weeks. We're going to have a ceremony. We're putting up a plaque on the wall, and it's good to, obviously in this day and age, we need to be very conscious of the energy consumption, and how that's working. So pleased to have that. I think it's either the second or third LEED certified building in the county. PUD 3's building is one, and I'm not sure the county public works building, maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Are you being asked by other transit systems around the state or the country to give input on new centers like this?
Yeah, Kathy Geis, who's the TCC manager, and I had an opportunity at the CTAA National Conference in Tampa earlier this year. We did part 1 of Building and Transit Community Center, really well attended and well received, and then they asked us to do a second part this coming year in May this year in Portland for the national conference. Actually the closest one is down Chehalis, is now working on a transit center for them, and they're looking at the community center aspects that they can tie into it. We've really worked hard to document lessons learned. What were the good decisions? What were the decisions that we go might have done this differently, and that learning process. One of the big things, which is kind of funny how bathrooms can be such a big thing, as we know, in our community, and when we were designing it, Kathy wasn't on the team originally because we weren't going to hire the manager until obviously not long before we opened it. Ended up, she worked for us, I think, a year and a half, which was really important. Her knowledge that she brought to it. And a big part of it is we didn't have any bathrooms that were right out, very approachable for all the transit users. That off the bus, use the bathroom back on the bus or whatever, they would have had to gone in through all the buildings and everything. And so just it's little things like that. So then we had to. The design was well underway. It wasn't being built yet, but the design was almost finished. So we had to go back and rethink some of those things. So those lessons learned we're trying to share with people, and that's one of the real neat things about transit is the sharing between transit agencies. We are the world's biggest and best plagiarizers. I mean, we copy everybody. There's only one wheel. Everybody else is copying.
Yeah. So let's talk about people if they've never been on the bus, and we're going to be talking weekly about the great things that Mason Transit has to offer to the community. But you quickly kind of touched on it. But within the county, it's a prepaid service. It's already been built into people's utility bills, or where does that come from?
Sales tax.
It's through a sales tax. And so you already are paying for the service, and it's a great we were driving in the other day, Monday morning, when it was really snowy, and we saw the 6X coming out Railroad towards town, and just a great service that people can use, and it is available to everyone.
Yeah, it's open to everyone, and that's one of the kind of the mysteries of it is so many people think, it's just for seniors, just for people with disabilities, it's just for kids or whatever. It's a general public service. It's open to everyone. In fact, a significant portion of our riders, 30-40% of our riders are commuters, are going to work, using public transit for work. So we have a significant economic impact with the service that we provide. But yeah, it is open for everyone. And that's not just the fixed route service, but that's also the dial-a-ride service, which is the door-to-door. You don't have to, again, be a senior or any limit on it. It's open to everybody to use. Again, that's another unique characteristic of MTA. You usually don't see it being general public, open to everybody with like the dial-a-ride type of service. Usually it's limited. Our motto is you can get anywhere from here, and you easily can. You can book those trips or pick up the fixed route system. We just started in November express commuter service because that was one of the big needs. Our buses were actually over full going between Shelton and Olympia for the past several years. Wow. A lot of workers going to the Capitol and whatnot. And so we really needed to add commuter service. But with that, people were going, I need to get to my job in Olympia or my job in Seattle by 8 o'clock, which means they got the bus ride or whatever on that end. And so those rides are starting, 4:30 in the morning, get you there. You can make the transfer to your job.
I was surprised to see that bus so early when we were coming in.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought it didn't go that early, but it just goes from this way that.
Well, we got it going both directions.
Oh, really?
We're going to Olympia, and then we got a bus going up to Bremerton.
Oh, okay, up to Bremerton.
Yeah, and so you can actually get to your job in Seattle by 8 o'clock from Shelton. You're leaving early.
Yeah.
But the bus goes straight up to the ferry terminal. And it's very limited stops. It's an express service.
Mm-hmm.
And then take the ferry over. Same thing to Olympia, and then the same thing in the afternoon. So it's very limited stop service. So we try and keep that bus moving.
Mm-hmm.
And it's already starting to grow in the ridership. We just started in November, and I was just talking with a person that wrote it. What was it, yesterday on Monday? And they said, by the time they got on here at the Transit Community Center, by the time they got off at the Bremerton. So
that's great. The drive, you don't have to worry about any of that.
Right.
Read a book, take a nap, do whatever you want.
Listen to an audiobook.
Listen to Daybreak. Brad Patterson and I, and Carol and I here with Transit Talk. We'll do it weekly at this time. MasonTransit.org is the website to get all the information. Follow them on Twitter. Thank you so much, Brad.
Yeah,
it's a new year.
It is.
And you can go anywhere from here.
You can go anywhere from here. I like it very much. It's 8:29 here at KMAS. Time now for us to get in on the morning stock numbers on KMAS. And good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys? It's a lovely morning.
It is a very nice morning here, Sherry. And what's going on? How's Wall Street?
Well, this morning, the U.S. stocks are sharply lower this morning as markets around the globe continue to react to weakness in Chinese markets. China's central bank set the reference rate at an unexpected weak level. In domestic economic news, data this morning showed continued strength in non-manufacturing industries. While factory orders declined in November, U.S. bond prices are mostly higher to begin the day. So far this morning in the S&P 500, the best sector is consumer staples, and the worst is energy. Dow Jones average is down 192.43 at 16,966. The Standard & Poor's 500 index is down 24.17 at 1,992. The NASDAQ index is down 37.44 at 4,853. This morning's volume on the New York Stock Exchange is moderate with 237.77 billion shares traded. Decliners are outnumbering advancers by roughly a 4-to-1 margin. In commodity markets, gold is up $11.12 to $1,088.79. Silver is at the same at $13.98. Crude oil prices are down $1.58 to $34.39. In bond markets, the 30-year Treasury yield is currently at 2.94%, and the 10-year Treasury yield is at 2.19%. In local stocks today, we have Amazon. That is up 99 cents. Costco is down $1.14. Boeing is down $1.99. Starbucks is down 60, and Microsoft is down $1.16. This is Sherry at Edward Jones, a member of the SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and long-time financial advice. We can be located at 1051 Southeast State Route 3, Suite E, and you can also reach Karen at 426-4590. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Mary Lynn Foster. The Mason County Sheriff's Office now has another option to avoid overcrowding at the county jail. County Commissioners Terry Jeffries, Tim Sheldon, and Randy Netherland unanimously approved a contract yesterday that allows the County Sheriff's Office to house inmates in Lewis County. The agreement gives the Sheriff's Office a third jail to hold an overflow of Mason County inmates beyond the county's existing jail contracts with Nisqually Corrections in Yelm and the City of Forks. Mason County Jail has been open since 1986 when it housed less than 45 inmates. Today, the jail houses as many as 150 inmates a day. Under the agreement, Mason County agrees to pay Lewis County a little over $60 a day for each inmate housed. Inmates classified as high needs are to be housed for $90 a day. High needs inmates are defined as having special housing or requiring additional corrections officers. Mason County Undersheriff Jim Barrett says the Lewis County contract allows law enforcement and the courts to prosecute and sentence lawbreakers and makes the community safer. During this week's City Commission meeting, Mayor Gary Krantz called for a year-long moratorium on City of Shelton development impact fees, water hookup fees, sewer line connection charges, and sidewalk requirements for residential lots. Krantz wants to bolster the city's economic growth through home building. The commissioners asked city staff to come up with a proposal and bring it back to the commission before spring construction begins. Among audience members opposing Krantz's proposal was former City Commissioner Mike Olson, who accused the mayor and newly seated Commissioner Kathy McDowell of pandering to special interests rather than the interests of Shelton residents. McDowell defeated Olson in the November general election for the Commissioner of Finance and Accounting position. McDowell, who attended her first City Commission meeting Monday night, said a one-year moratorium was not a very long time to give it a try. The Mason County coroner has completed an autopsy for a scuba diver who died while diving in Hood Canal on Sunday. West Stockwell determined that 56-year-old Todd Randall McDonald died from saltwater drowning. He said that additional tests will be conducted to determine what events led up to the drowning. State shellfish managers have approved razor clam digs starting later this week at Long Beach and Copalis Beach. Digs at both beaches are on evening tides and include a 2-day opening, January 8th and 9th at Copalis, and an 8-day dig, January 7th through 14th at Long Beach. All diggers age 15 or older must have an applicable fishing license to harvest razor clams on any beach. Licenses are available on WDFW's website at wdfw.wa.gov. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
You're always doing things for other people. Every once in a while, it's okay to do something for yourself. This is Doug Sample from Whitney Chevrolet. This holiday season, treat yourself. After all, doing things for other people often requires a reliable vehicle. If you don't enjoy the task you're doing, at least enjoy your ride. Check out our great selection of new and used cars on our lot or online at whitneychev.com.
A $150 negotiable document fee may be added to the price of all vehicles.
Just down the road to Whitney.
Tune in all season long to NFL Insider on Westwood One. Hi, this is Mark Malone. Join me each week as we whip around the league and break down the NFL. We'll hear from today's stars and yesterday's heroes as James Lofton sits down with a fellow member of the Hall of Fame. We'll also check in with former greats Rod Woodson and Donovan McNabb to help us break down all the latest NFL news. That's NFL Insider right here.
Sunday morning at 6:30 on KMAS. At 8:37, good morning. It's Daybreak, Checkin' Sports. I'm Jeff Slinky. We'll have a weather report here shortly with Carol Gardner, and this weekend is Wild Card Weekend. But before we get there, join us tonight on KMAS.com for another online video cast of Shelton basketball. North Thurston and the boys come to the Mini Dome. Our coverage with Sean Wells starts right around 7 o'clock. About noon today, we will all be congratulating Ken Griffey Jr. as he seems assured of election into the Hall of Fame. Almost, unprecedented. He could be in at 100% voting. That means awesome. All the baseball writers of America all agree that the kid deserves his spot in Cooperstown. I did not vote, but if I did, I would vote yay.
Yes,
in the
yay.
affirmative.
Exactly.
As they say. All right, so I mentioned Seattle Seahawks, wild card weekend. All the games get underway Saturday, Kansas City and Houston, then Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Sunday's games, the morning one, are the Hawks in Minnesota. We'll have it for you. Pregame at 8, kickoff at 10, and then Green Bay at Washington. I mean, these teams are all good. They're all in the playoffs. It's the wild card, and so these are all going to be great matchups, and we've got all the games for you right here on the radio, AM 1030 and FM 1033. Talked about some basketball on KMAS.com tonight. Other scores in girls basketball. Sean Wells was at North Mason last night, and Squim beat North Mason 34-20. Sean will have our video cast of basketball tonight. And another girls basketball score for you, Olympic over Bremerton, 75-66. It's the North Mason duel in wrestling tonight. People are going to be grappling and wrestling up at North Mason, 7 o'clock tonight for the North Mason duel. Also, the bowling team takes on Foss at Narrows Plaza, and there's also boys swimming tomorrow. I should say bowling is tomorrow, and boys swimming also tomorrow at the Shelton High School swimming pool. 8:39, checking the weather. Here is Carol.
Right now it's 38, and it's cloudy this morning. It's going to be a little bit of sunshine, and it's going to be a high of 46. This is going to happen through Friday with sunshine, temps staying in the low 40s, overnight temps in the low 30s. Friday and Saturday look great. It's going to be full sun, high staying in the low 40s, though, and overnight low in the low 30s. So I was just trying to look up really quickly the weather in Minnesota on Sunday, and it's going to be frigid. I can't get an exact temperature.
Oh, I thought I heard that it was going to be -2 at kickoff.
Well, that sounds frigid to me.
It's frigid to me, too. -2.
Yeah, that's going to be crazy.
Well,
crazy,
just listen to the game on the radio right next to the fireplace.
Yeah, you don't have to fly up.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line by email or Facebook. Now, from the southernmost tide pool of Puget Sound, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
Well, good morning to you. It is Daybreak here, and in about 5 minutes, we'll be welcoming Dick Taylor and John Dobson for the first port of call of 2016. Talk about some investments for the future and a new commissioner on the rolls tomorrow. On Daybreak, a great day for guests as U.S. Congressman in the 6th District here in Washington, Derek Kilmer, will call in at 7:15, and Mark Ziegler from Shelton Parks and Rec will be on at 8:45. Friday, new City Commissioner Kathy McDowell will be here at 7:15. Shelton School District Superintendent Dr. Alex Apostle will be at 8:15, and then Drew McEwen in, 35th District Representative, at 8:45 to get going. That's Friday. The session starts on Monday. They had a legislative send-off yesterday at the Colonial House, well attended by many folks, and so nice to see so many people out there. Carol found the weather forecast.
I did. It's going to be sub-zero, like you said, and it's to get an idea how cold that is. You get into a meat freezer. If you're in there for about 2 minutes, it starts to burn your fingers.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, they're going to be, I mean, they got all the stuff. They got the warm fingers. They got the people as soon as they come off the field, but just, and they're playing, they're moving, they're going to be active. So they're going to be
but
fine.
Still, a lot of those guys are where they don't have sleeves, and then they take their helmets off, and it's just all steam. You know,
well, maybe their hair will freeze down in air.
It's 8:42 here.
The dreads will freeze and break.
KMAS. That could be something. You know that we'll get to the next sportscast. Well, don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole. 8:42 at KMAS. We have got some great programming for you on KMAS.com tonight. Another video cast of Shelton High School basketball. We are making a major push to show the kids at Shelton High School that we care about them, and we want to see them do well. And one of the things that's going to be happening shortly, and we'll continue to start to tell you more information about Graduation Matters Shelton at the Mini Dome this upcoming next Thursday, the 14th. We will be there and celebrating. The band's going to be there. The stagecraft class kids are going to be filming the whole thing. Lots of local dignitaries will be speaking on Graduation Matters Shelton. Coming up next, Port of Call right here on Daybreak on KMAS.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
You answered all your emails by noon. Get a freshly prepared Egg McMuffin. Actually left work on time? Then get yourself a savory sausage McMuffin with egg. You saw the weirdest midnight movie. Well, get a delicious sausage burrito. With McDonald's all-day breakfast menu, you can get delectable breakfast tastes anytime. Egg McMuffin, hotcakes and sausage and more. It's time to start enjoying the breakfast you love whenever you want. Just listen to a radio commercial? Get some golden hash browns. McDonald's all-day breakfast menu varies by location.
This love letter's for my sweet beauty. Your scent drives me all sorts of cray. Every time you touch my lips, ooh, how it makes my day. Rich, smooth, fresh, and steamy. Dang, you're a dream. So let me give you some sugar, and then perhaps some cream. There's no denying your love for a rich, smooth, fresh brewed McCafe. And now, get any size for just $1. A la carte only. Prices and participation may vary. Limited time offer.
The Chad Benson Show.
When you're going to do something stupid, you need to tell the world how stupid you are. You can't just keep it to yourself. You got to broadcast it for the world. You have to say, hey, look at me. I'm an idiot, and I'm doing something completely wrong, and I would love for you to get a lot of views for me, some likes, and some feedback would be super.
The Chad Benson Show.
Hi, this is Chad Benson. Please check out my show this afternoon from 3 to 6 on KMAS News Radio.
Hi, this is Jeannie Raywalt from the WSU Extension with the Food Sense Nutrition and Master Gardening programs. And you're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is Daybreak here at KMAS, and it's time for us to dive on in to the Port of Call here this Wednesday morning. Dick Taylor are well, and Happy New Year, first off.
Well, Happy New Year.
There we go. We got the camera working now.
There we go. God, there's
and,
both of us.
Yes, there are both of you.
Oh, God. It has been a great banner year. Year after year, the port seems to just go well above and beyond its expectations. And last year was a great year. This upcoming year, you're coming into it already. All your property is rented out, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Wow. That's great.
Yep.
So what are you going to do? How do you find room for more?
That's the question.
That's the question. We're looking at, well, there's a couple things. You have to look for availability of where you can expand to. And the next thing is how you can pay for it.
Right.
And that's what we're looking at right now. We had a long discussion yesterday at our meeting about finances and where we can go and how we can do it. And we didn't come to any conclusions at all. And in fact, we opened more questions to ourselves. And as a result, we're going to have a workshop meeting. And I don't know what date it's going to be.
It's actually Monday morning.
Monday morning? Okay. Monday morning, we're going to have a workshop meeting. Spend most of the day talking about the options and where we can, or how and where we can finance this kind of thing, because it's not cheap to expand. And we have some projects or some places in mind that we would like to expand to.
Sure.
So that's in the future, and that's a major thing for us.
I can imagine that getting, wrapping your heads around a lot of these numbers and locations is hard for sitting and current commissioners, and it was a new commissioner's first day on the job yesterday. So that was another thing we had to work out. How's everything going to be? What's the learning curve on this kind of stuff?
Well, the learning curve is you just have to do your homework.
Sure.
And get comfortable yourself with what's being presented. And each one of us had to do that when we did it, and take advantage. And my advice is take advantage of all the materials that we have and the staff that can help you, guide you through process that we're doing and the projects, and that's the way to do it. The staff is professional.
Yeah.
They're a constant. They're there all the time. They know where we are, so we need to depend upon them. And ultimately, in the end, we make the decision. We, the commission, make the decision, but it's based on inputs from the staff and our own research and our own work that we do. But basically, I think you need to look at what staff is doing and keep track of that.
Are there any other changes as a new year comes forth? I know the new commissioner, you're still going to be the commission chair.
Yeah, we had elections yesterday. Okay. So the elections are, as I'm the chair, Commissioner Buck is the vice chair, Commissioner Patterson is the treasurer.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So basically the same structure as before, but Commissioner Patterson's. As far as
when you're looking at do you have properties currently that the port, like next to the port, or can you look to a new area to invest in?
Well, we can look to a new area. Yeah, sure. And ports do that.
Okay.
All over the state. Yeah, go ahead, John.
No, I was just going to say that, the challenge is the limited resources.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a real good job of harvesting the timber, and as everybody knows, and a little bit of controversy over that, but that was probably one of the smartest moves we made because that gave us the cash to even think about what we're doing.
Right.
So you're right. I mean, there's been some conversation about expanding the UGA going out to the west side of State Patrol, and the port would love to be able to help that. There's some properties that are available for sale that we'd like to take a look at. Listed funds.
Mm-hmm.
And so there comes the challenge. And so the first thing that the commission and staff, I have to admit, because it's been a fire hose for me too, going through this from a reverse standpoint. Like I said, in the past, we've had open buildings, so it's just a matter of filling them up. That's the easy part.
Yeah.
But now you've got to really sit down and understand the money side of things and the numbers. And you don't want to get into a leveraged position where you're putting the port at risk.
Mm-hmm.
And so the commission's got to take a real hard look at that and then make some decisions which way they want to go.
So you guys are looking to expand, but you are within the county. So is there some kind of, I don't know, rules or something that say the ports can only be so big, or they have to be within certain boundaries or something?
It's actually an interesting conversation. We could actually have property in Yakima.
Really?
There's nothing that would really restrict us from doing and investing there, but obviously the taxpayers might have something to say about that.
I would
What's going on here?
Yeah. So you obviously want to stay within your own port district. I was always fascinated. A good friend of mine, Tim Arnston, who's the executive director for the Port of Kennewick, and you watch Port of Kennewick, Port of Pasco, and Port of Richland. I'm sorry. Yeah, is it Pasco, Kennewick, and Richland? Each have ownership in each other's territory, if you will. So they're crossing boundaries, and it's the service that a community feels that they're getting from that particular port. So yeah, nothing would stop us from going up hypothetically to Belfair and investing in something. We haven't spotted anything. I don't want to put out false rumors or anything like that, but yeah, it's an interesting conversation to have. So. It really gets back down to the jobs. It gets back down to the mission statement, and the direction that the commission wants to go. So, and right now we've got some opportunities, we think, for expanding jobs and getting to that magic 1,000 number. So that's kind of what's in front of us right now.
Last year we saw a great setup, celebration, Oyster Fest on the abandoned runway. Are there any plans this year for other big celebrations on port property?
Not really. I think, the challenge with that airport is we've got two issues. Number one, obviously, we have a very active airport.
Mm-hmm.
If you pick a nice summer sunshiny day, guess who's out there? And that's Kapowson, and rightly so. So we have a tenant there that needs that runway and needs access to it. On for whoever wants to take a look at that as an interim thing. The challenge is to understand that it cannot be, quote, a guaranteed annual event, for in perpetuity. Sooner or later, that property is going to get developed, and so people just need to be prepared for that. So,
and the leases we do right now have that in the clause.
Oh, people are aware. They know.
Yes. We've had a relationship with them, good conversation about that, and so there's some thoughts going on in the background. Obviously, for right now, as long as they need it, we're fine. There's nothing in the works right now. So, Oyster Fest will still be there for several years to come.
So, also this year, is there going to be the part 2 or the main show of Evergreen Tremors? Is that happening in 2016 or is that 2017?
Military will be here this Saturday, in fact.
Okay.
They're coming here tomorrow or this Saturday to take a look at the property again, and this is going to be the big one.
This is the big one this year.
Yeah, it's June 12th, I believe, is the date that they've scheduled for that. I'm not sure the hard number. We've heard anywhere from 400 to 600 troops will be on airport property over at the fairgrounds area, the old fairgrounds area, and practicing. So, yeah, we're trying to get a C-130 to come in. There's some issues with the strength of the runway, and actually there is no problem with it, but it has to do with the conversion tables that the military uses versus domestics. So
Really? That is interesting. That's a big plane. Those are the big ones.
It's about 100 and, what does it gross out? About 120 or 140,000 pounds, something like that. But based on the tire weights and everything else, the runway is capable of doing it. But if they max out the plane and what it's totally capable of, they're technically 10,000 pounds over. So somebody needs to take their slide rule away and use a calculator.
Very interesting. Well, we'll monitor that. June, port of call here weekly Wednesdays on Daybreak. Your commission meetings are Tuesdays.
Right. Every first and third
Tuesdays, and everybody is more than welcome to come and see what happens on port property and talk with the commissioners. Thank you so much, guys. It was Happy New Year. Great to see you.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
And then Dick Taylor, quick, when's your CNN thing coming on? It's a new year.
Yeah, it's a new year. It starts in February. We don't have a date. There are eight episodes to
We got a celebrity in our midst.
We do. Dick was he was a part of some secret missions that were just recently unclassified. CNN took a liking, and they're doing a whole deal.
Yeah, doing an 8-hour series. It's called Declassified.
Okay.
On CIA operations, and the Trieste portion is 1 hour of it.
The whole, so a whole segment. Okay, great. It's 8:54 here at KMAS, and that does it for Port of Call this morning. As we surface here, we will also take a quick break and look to wrap things up here on a Wednesday on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Is your business targeting the state's largest payroll? Military personnel at JBLM and Naval Base Kitsap surpass all others, and Swarner Communications gives your businesses direct reach into those markets with newspaper advertising, face-to-face events, email blasts, mobile marketing, reputation management, and more, all for one affordable price. 35212.
Hi, this is Seattle Mariners broadcaster Dave Valley, and you are listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
All right, good morning to you. It is Daybreak here, KMAS, coming up on 9 o'clock, and it's Tom Hartman next, Dave Ramsey after that, Chad Benson, Alex Jones at 6 until 9, and then we go Midnight in the Desert with Heather Wade. On KMAS.com tonight, we've got high school basketball for you. Very excited for another video cast of Shelton basketball. North Thurston and the boys come to the Mini Dome, and Sean Wells will start our coverage right around 7 o'clock. We do thank you for tuning in this morning. The Old Farmer's Almanac is coming up next, and tomorrow we've got more great guests as Derek Kilmer, U.S. Congressman for Washington's 6th District, will call in at 7:15, and Mark Ziegler from Shelton Parks and Rec will be in at 8:45. Friday, new City Commissioner for Shelton, Kathy McDowell, at 7:15. Shelton School Superintendent Dr. Alex Apostle at 8:15. Then 35th District Representative Drew McEwen at 8:45 as we preview the session that begins in earnest on Monday. That's right. This upcoming Monday is the first day of the legislative session, and it's going to likely be a quick session, 60 days, as I think all will see, and likely to see a good amount of working togetherness, I would imagine, because, you know, the politicians need to get out there and run for their positions. It's an election year, a big election year, and you're not going to want to stray too far away from KMAS, AM 1030, FM 1033, KMAS.com, or our social media channels like Facebook.com/1030KMAS and Twitter at 1030KMAS. State of the Huddle from Nikki Haley was just announced to do the State of the Union response. We'll have that all for you on the radio as well. It's KMAS.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.